Yo, what up, fam? Let's go down the pit, aka the pod, and we can hit some 540s and have a good time. And if you're not listening, you're a grommet. Welcome to the pod. I said it wrong last time. The unofficial DCOM podcast.
What'd you say last time?
The Untitled, which was our original test podcast name.
That was back when it was Untitled.
That was but then we named it, and I called it Untitled.
Who's gonna find out? No one.
I might have just admitted it to the world, but who knows? We'll just roll with it.
So what movie are we doing today?
So today we are doing the aggressive inline skating movie known as Brink, which apparently is based off a novel from like the 1800s.
Right. A novel about ice skaters from the 1800s. And they're
Aren't they like Dutch?
I think so. My dad said he used to, at school, he used to like go into like the auditorium and they would watch Hans Brinker.
So this movie has a storied history, and by storied history, I mean it was very, very, very loosely based off that Hans Brinker.
The main connections are the name Brink and the concept of skates.
That's it. But yeah, we watched Brink, the third movie out of the 106 Disney Channel original movies that we are watching in order.
In order.
I feel like we need to make that clear with our little fan base we have going. People are like, do this movie, do that movie. We would not have started with Under Wraps if that was the case.
We would not have even considered it, you lucky dog, if that was the case.
Yeah, we are very going in order here. Going through the good, going through the bad.
We're going in order, and we're at a fun point where I think like some of the most memorable ones are going to come up in the next wave, including Brink.
Oh yeah, this is the first time I've ever watched Brink, and I definitely can see why it's a classic to like many people.
This is not the first time I've ever watched Brink. This is the first time I feel like I have enough brain to remember all of Brink.
I'm glad you got there.
It took a while, but here we are.
And we're still working on it through this journey. Remembering stuff. Knowing movies.
Deciphering basic storylines that are meant for children.
Yeah, maybe even overanalyzing them a little bit. But like overanalyzing them in the wrong way. It's not even like thinking deeply about it. It's just I'm thinking too much about it and it's wrong on top of that.
We think too much about everything.
Yeah, and we're usually wrong. I'm usually wrong.
No, I'm usually wrong too.
That's the beauty of this podcast.
We're never right.
We're never right, but we have a fun time doing it.
Hopefully.
That's the goal. Because if not, we're just talking into a void, man.
Not we're just two guys in a void watching a lot of kids' movies.
That sounds like the cops are gonna arrest us now.
Are they? Would you consider DCOM kids' movies?
I feel like they're made more towards that like teen tween audience.
Right.
Because there's definitely like storylines that have more adult subject matters, but nothing that's extreme and crazy. No murders, although they do pull guns out on people apparently.
Right. There's attempted murder in I think every movie we've seen so far.
Yeah, we were racking up the attempted murder counts of main characters.
So, who knows? I haven't seen all 106, so maybe they get it done in one of them.
Maybe they do. I don't know. Are we going to take bets on murders before movies start?
I think we just have to put those bets in our mind. Oh, we could do it at the end of the podcast.
Do you see somebody getting murdered in the movie about the dog psychic, something like that?
Right. All right. Next week is Halloweentown. Do you think someone is getting murdered in Halloweentown?
If I haven't seen bits and pieces of it, I would say yes, but I think I've seen it on the TV just playing, and I don't think anybody gets murdered.
I haven't seen it recently enough to confirm whether or not someone does get murdered, so I'll go the opposite way. I'll say, yeah, someone does.
Okay. It could go either way, really.
Okay. Remind us next week to check in on the next episode.
Who are you telling to remind us?
You.
I'm not gonna remind you. I'm gonna forget, man. We've been over this.
Then that was an editor's note.
That was an editor's note?
Uh-huh.
To you?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
We'll see. But today, we're talking about Brink. No murder.
Talk about Brink. No murder. Attempted. Attempted. No murder.
Not completed.
Not completed. Failed murder. Which is our favorite kind.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna say that on the record. Murder's bad. I like to make that clear.
Don't do it.
Don't murder anybody.
Stop.
You got the official endorsement of the Unofficial DCOM podcast on no murder.
No murder. All right, what's Brink about?
As I said before, Brink is about aggressive inline skating. But it follows this group of 4 main skaters who go by the team name-ish. It's not an official team name, but it's a team name called the Soul Skaters because they skate for their souls and not for money.
It's a concept.
It's a feeling you get inside.
They skate for fun and not money. Unlike apparently other people.
Yeah, the only sponsored inline skate team in Venice, I guess.
Venice, California, not Venice, Italy.
Make that clear.
Yeah, in case you haven't seen the movie. It's important to note.
Yeah, but we follow the Soul Skaters around and their triumphs, their downfalls, especially bumping heads with the sponsored skate team, the X Blades with a Z.
And no E.
Yeah, typing that a bunch of times throughout like my notes, I was always confused.
The X Blads, if you will.
The X Blads, man. That sounds intimidating.
So, Brink stars Eric Von Deeten as Brink.
I know we see him again because after this movie ended on Disney Plus, the bowling movie showed up and he just has less greasy hair.
That wasn't him.
That wasn't him?
That wasn't him. The bowling movie also showed up for me. There's no way it was him.
He had the same flowing, short, long hair thing going for him. He looked like it.
Different guy.
That's my bad.
No, yeah, we won't see him again.
That's depressing.
But a little fun fact about him, he is in The Princess Diaries.
Okay.
I don't know if you've ever seen that one. Probably not.
Nope.
He also plays Sid in Toy Story 1 and 3.
Good for him. He's had a good career.
Oh, for sure.
And plus, he's a good actor, too. I'll give him that.
Yeah, he was definitely pretty good. He's gonna really start off like the modern DCOMs. Like, we're entering a new era.
Yeah, this felt like a formula I felt before. It had that vibe to it.
I feel like we're entering the prime.
I'm not going to say prime yet because my era comes later. And I feel like each person considers their prime something different. But we'll see.
We'll determine the prime as we go on. But we're certainly in a new era.
Yeah.
Where they touch on it in Under Wraps. They go in the complete opposite direction for You Lucky Dog. And we're back to like this teen, like family comedy movie, drama, whatever.
Yeah.
And we're back on track.
Yeah, we're hitting the stride.
So how does the movie start?
Okay, so we we see some like rollerblades on the stairs, and then that's when we see Brink walk down the stairs. He picks up the rollerblades and he goes into the kitchen where he bumps into his mom, takes a big swig of chocolate syrup, and then I think we get already our first trope of the movie of
Syrup. Yeah.
Whatever. We get our first we get our first trope of the movie with the annoying little sister, Kate.
Right.
And she asks if Brink is going to Venice Beach again. We learn to skate because that's what he does. And then he runs out of the kitchen, bumps into his dad, where he says, like, I think, yo.
He says, "What up, Dad?"
Oh, and then his dad tells him to speak English.
He goes, "English, that up."
There's a lot of hip lingo in this movie that some stands the test of time. Most of it does not.
Right. And we're gonna dive through that because I have a fun game we're gonna play along the way.
Oh, you have a game?
Yeah. It's short because it definitely slowed down throughout the movie, but we're gonna give you a little quiz.
Okay.
Let's touch on who. First off, Brink is his last name. His last name is Brinker.
Yes, his first name is Andy.
Right, Andy Brinker. His middle name is Brink.
His nickname's Brink. His middle name's it's Andy Brinker.
Andy Brinker.
You might add an extra one in there, but it doesn't matter.
Who's to say? All right, do you recognize his sister?
Oh, she's got that like classic little sister look from these movies, so I have no clue.
Okay. She is going to be in another movie. She's going to be in another movie that you've seen.
Okay, you got to tell me.
She's played by Katie Valdane. She's also going to play the younger sister in Smart House.
That definitely makes sense. I've seen her play the same little sister character before.
You've seen this character before.
They just copy and pasted her in the Smart House, I feel.
Pretty much.
Yeah, there's nothing that stands out differently between the two that I remember.
His mother is played by Robin Riker, who is also going to show up again twice.
Twice? Good for her.
She's going to show up in Don't Look Under the Bed.
Okay.
So I'll be honest, I'm scared. I'm not looking forward to that one.
If you're scared, I'm terrified.
Right. And Read It and Weep.
Heard of that one.
Right.
Don't know.
And Brink's father, Ralph, is going to be played by David Graff.
Okay.
Who passed away in 2001. He was most known for being in, I think, all of the Police Academy movies. And he was a pretty like respected name in the Screen Actors Guild as like a representative. So he's pretty good. I like the dad in this. I don't think there's any bad actors in this movie.
No, there's nothing that makes me go like, whoa, you need to try something else.
Right. So Brink's gonna sprint out of the house.
Yes. As he's on his way to the bus stop where his friends Jordy, Gabriella, and Pete are waiting for him because they all want to go to the skate park, or the pit as the cool kids call it.
Right, they're waiting there, and like he's clearly late, and they go like, "Oh, what happened?" Like, I wonder what's wrong. And Jordy's like, "Yeah, something could have happened. He could have got hit by a bus, or his dad's back problems are acting up." And Gabriella is like, "Oh yeah, or he got abducted by aliens," as if he didn't bring up two viable options.
Yeah, she's kind of like taking the piss out of Jordy here because Jordy is supposed to be that like dumb skater dude kind of thing. But he gives viable options because the dad's back comes up like a lot throughout this film.
Right. Gabriella's kind of like the mean friend. She's like the tough one. Jordy's dumb. And Peter's there. And
He's the level-headed one. Like,
right. He's there to like move the plot along because he's the only one he can really communicate with.
Yeah, everybody else has like the quips and everything. And then Pete's like, this is what we're going to do.
Right. To touch on our characters here, Peter is played by Patrick Levis. He's going to show back up in Miracle in Lane 2.
Okay.
Jordy is played by Asher Gold. I'm not going to see him again.
I like Jordy.
So I like Jordy too. Again. Yeah. Gabriella is played by Christina Vidal, who we're not going to see again. But she is in Freaky Friday.
And that's not a DCOM.
Not a DCOM.
Okay, that's a theater Disney movie?
Mm-hmm. That one had a theatrical release.
Good for her. She's moving up. She moved from the Disney Channel original movies to the Disney original movies.
If that is a direction, I think it's up.
Let's go with that.
Let's go with that. Do you have written down what Brink says when he shows up?
No, I don't. The only note I have before Brink shows up is that ska was playing, and I just wanted to point that out because I enjoy that.
I don't think I can distinguish ska.
Well, you need to work on that.
My man.
So what does he say?
They're going to call him out for being late. And he's pretty much going to say, sorry about that. Something, but he's going to use the word chornage.
Chornage?
Yeah.
Oh, chorage.
Okay.
Because he's late for cleaning his room. His mom made him clean the room before he left. And that's why he's late. No?
No. That's what I thought. And then I turned the captions on.
Oh, I turned the captions on like 5 minutes in because I wasn't understanding a bit of what these people were saying.
Right. This will lead us into the first part of our little game. Ethan.
Yeah.
Can you give me a definition of the word chornage?
Chornage. Can you use it in a sentence?
Why were you late? Oh, sorry, dude. Major chornage.
It makes it seem like traffic.
Yeah, it was like, it makes it, the way it's said is pretty strange. Let me pull up a better, dude, chornage. My mom made me clean my room before I could leave.
Yeah, now I'm lost. You had me the first time.
All right. Are you, shoot out a guess.
Well, I said traffic because it made sense for the first one, but now that you said the second sentence, it doesn't make sense.
All right. It's a nice way of saying that's lame.
I think I'm going to start using that.
Uh-huh.
I think this podcast. Oh, you know what this podcast isn't? Chornage.
Nice.
That was the correct usage, right? I didn't call the podcast lame, right?
If you did, who would stop you?
Nobody would argue.
You have 2 more tries.
For what?
Not for our quiz throughout the movie.
Okay, I can handle that. I'll take being embarrassed 3 times trying to stay up to date with the lingo of the skater 90s.
It's worth it.
Well, I'm excited. So after they talk about like Brink being late and the alien abduction, they have to wait for the next bus because the bus just kind of passes them, doesn't even stop at the stop with 3 people at it.
Doesn't
The
stop.
the bus drives by and they go, "Dang, we have to go catch the next bus." Like it doesn't stop. They don't say, "No, we'll wait for the next bus. We're waiting for somebody." The bus just drives by. So what Brink does here is he suggests that they all skate down the Venice Beach instead.
Yeah, they're like, well, we don't want to be late because if we're late, we'll have to wait to use the pit.
Mm-hmm.
Which we'll get into that once they get there. But I want to talk about this skate to Venice Beach first.
Okay.
Do you think it's them skating for most of the movie?
It honestly looked like them. I'm going to give it that. But in the credits, I did catch stunt. Nope, that's not it. Stunt skaters. So it's not them some of the time, I feel.
Yeah, a crazy 11 stunt skaters. But were those stunt skaters for the other skaters or were they... It's hard to tell because there are definitely shots where it's like, that's definitely him. But then there are other shots where that's like, there's no way that's Jordy.
I'm going to give him props. I didn't notice it. But, yeah. All the skating in this movie was real impressive. So props to everybody. Because before we started this pod, I decided to break out some rollerblades out of my closet and just see what I could do, having not skated for a couple of years. And it went horrific. I put on the skates backward first, and then as soon as I tried to get into the like onto the road, because I saw them do that in the movie, I fell immediately because the road was too bumpy.
How did you put them on backwards?
There's this thing where like the boot part of the skate looked like it went on either shoe, but then when I stood up, I could see the wheels were basically like backwards. Whatever, it doesn't matter. I'm just gonna say skating was tough. So props to everybody who skated in this movie.
Right. We're definitely like, I know for a fact the character that we're going to see later, Val, is a professional like skater. Like he's actually can skate. Okay. I know that because that was on his IMDb. Couldn't find it for anybody else. I have a problem with when they get to the beach. What time is it?
Time doesn't really make sense in this movie because anytime where it's light out, it could either be the afternoon or it could be like it could be early afternoon, like morning, 11 o'clock, or it could be like 4 o'clock, and it doesn't really tell you, so I have no clue.
Yeah, because their whole problem is they don't want to be late and have to wait to use the pit, but they get to the beach is packed, and no one else is at this pit. We're supposed to believe that inline skating is a big thing, and no one uses this main place.
That was a question that came up a lot in this movie for me. I'm like, they try to make inline skating. I don't know how big it was in the 90s, but they try to make it seem like such a big deal in this movie. And they kind of accomplish that.
Yeah, it's kind of talked about, but they don't really like. It's way bigger than you would think in this world, and it's wonky all around. I'll be honest.
Yeah. So at the skate park, we see them like all skate around a little bit. We get a lot of that throughout this movie of just quick montages of people skating. But Brink and Pete see a photographer for Inline Skater magazine, which is shown by I believe a Times New Roman font on the photographer's hat.
Right. Tiny font. The tiniest font.
Shout out their young eyes, because if this was real life, I would not have been able to see that.
Right, and he's not really looking in their direction. The hat's on backwards, first off.
Yeah.
So they need to see him turn around for them to be able to pick out that he works for Inline Skating magazine. And so, he's not even looking at the inline skating.
No, because we learned that he's waiting for somebody else, another group of people. But the gang and Brink decide they want to show everybody what soul skating is all about. And we just get another montage of them skating.
I think you said, was that wrong? You said skull for something else.
There's too many SS words in this movie.
We gotta go back here because we have part 2 of the Ethan quiz.
Oh, already? Okay.
Yeah, they kind of come real quick, and it's upsetting that the lingo's not. But here we are. While they're going around doing tricks, one of them does something, and Brink says, "That was ill, man."
I've heard that before. Don't think I'm that out of the times.
All right, what does it mean?
It means it's sick.
No.
Yes.
All right.
No?
Means it's tight.
That's the same thing. Sick, tight, ill. They're all interchangeable.
Cool.
Cool, yeah, cool, interchangeable. Come on.
I'll give you a half a point.
A half a point? That's full point, bro. If I said that was sick, or if I said that was ill, I feel like they might have a slight variation on degree of coolness, but it means the same thing.
I'll give you 0.9 of a point.
Okay, I'll take it because I know I'm not getting any better than that.
All right. Well, just because you need a full point to win, so you got to get the third one right.
I'm scared, but they're skating around, and then they see that the photographer isn't taking any pictures of them. And then enters Team X Blades with a Z, no E, right?
Right. I have it spelt wrong for the first 30 minutes of the movie because it's never seen until almost halfway in.
Okay, I'm going to guess I have it wrong too then. But it's pronounced X-Blades.
Yeah, it's XBLADZ.
Okay, that's what I have. Good for me.
Good for you.
Thanks. But so Team X-Blades comes in, and then they do their tricks, and the photographer is just taking pictures of them because they're the sponsored inline skating team here.
Right. The sponsored inline skating team that has their own gym, but they need to be photographed at the pit, surrounded by a massive crowd of people that were just told to clap.
Yeah.
And there's no rhythm in the clapping. There's no anything in the clapping. They're just clapping. And they clearly found one extra who was just he was like, I love this guy's energy, and just kept putting him in the back of shots. Yeah. There's one guy in in a sleeveless gray shirt and red shorts, and he's in multiple shots back to back.
I didn't notice that, but I love that they just love this guy so much. He's like, okay, just keep going. You're doing great. But so the soul skaters get jealous, and Brink suggests to Pete to do a 540, which I think is the most prominent trick in this film. We learned a lot of trick names throughout it, but I think the 540 is the biggest one.
I don't think we learn anything.
I get the general gist of it, I feel, at least.
540 is easy to infer, I feel like.
Yeah, because we'll get later, like, commentators talking about some moves, and I don't know, maybe I can go down to, like, a pit and try to fit in with the inline skaters, but I think I'd fail pretty miserably.
Wouldn't we all?
I think we would. I know I wouldn't be able to skate. I've tried that.
Right.
So, when Pete goes to do this 540, he just completely crashes. He wipes out. And then, so there's this leader of the Blades who's an adult. His name is Jimmy, and he kind of like runs the whole team.
He's like the manager, yeah.
Yeah, and he wants the losers, aka the Soul Skaters, out of the pit so they can get their picture taken in there because that's imperative. So
right.
Yeah.
There's it's like a sacred roller skating, inline skating place, the pit, but no one goes there.
Yeah, the only people there really are the Soul Skaters, and not even X-Blades. It's just the Soul Skater. I said it again. The Soul Skaters spot. This is going to be rough.
It's the Vikings. The Minnesota Vikings are like Skull Nation, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Soul Skaters spot.
The Minnesota Vikings inline skating team.
In Venice Beach, California. So when Jimmy tells to get the Soul Skaters out of the pit, the top skater, Val, goes to get him out because they have some beef already. There's some pre-established beef between the X-Blades and the Soul Skaters, but particularly between Brink and Val. So when Val starts to come into the pit, Brink is going to do a move on the ramp. But Val I feel like this is some sacred rule of skating. You don't walk in the middle of a ramp when some dude's zooming to do a trick.
Super dangerous. And Brink goes like flying into a wall.
Yeah, like there's a lot of times where people fall and they should be injured in this movie, but he hits real hard.
Right. And there are a lot of like light injuries that shouldn't be injuries that are injuries in this movie.
Yeah, like every time somebody falls, you can't tell if somebody's really hurt until they say something, or if they don't say anything.
Yeah, every time someone falls, you go, is this another injury storyline?
And then they just get up.
And then they get
up. So both groups argue about who gets the pit. And when they're arguing, somebody else from X-Blades gets into the pit. And they're like, this is our turf now. So the gang of soul skaters leaves.
Right. They're kind of, they're just like kicked out. And then there's some back and forth where Worm asks Gabriella if she's been arrested for impersonating a boy, which doesn't make sense. Because, she has long curly hair. She's in, I guess overalls is the thing.
It's normal clothes of the 90s.
Yeah, there's gonna be a girl that hangs out with the X-Blades that wears overalls, so it doesn't make sense there either. She is just like a girl. She's just like a person.
Come on, she's that classic tomboy. Come on, she's not like other girls. She likes hanging with the dudes and skating all day.
She's just a skater, which is she could like if she lived in Canada, maybe it'd be ice skating. It's such a weird. The character doesn't fit the character, or the actress doesn't fit the character that they're trying to put her into, which is weird. Yeah. I do want to touch on two names here.
Okay.
Because I love doing this.
Yeah, this is your thing.
This is my thing. Because I know you would never be able to fish out what I find interesting about these people.
Yeah, I like hearing what you have to say. I'm not doing it myself.
So the manager, Jimmy, is played by Jeffrey Blake, who is Wesley in Forrest Gump, Have you ever seen Forrest Gump?
No.
We know.
I feel bad about that one though. It's not like the other ones. Like, have you seen this DCOM? It's like, have you seen Forrest Gump? And I have to
Yeah.
answer no to this.
Yeah.
But go on.
It's a good movie. Watch it sometimes. I think you'll like it. Maybe. I don't know. He plays football in it.
I like football. Come on, man.
Well, there you go. Wesley Pitt plays the radical, abusive boyfriend of Jenny, the female lead.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go. And Val is played by Sam Horrigan, who I absolutely know you've never seen this movie. Played Spike in Little Giants.
That sounds cool.
I hate you. They're great movies. You've never seen them. You've seen Camp Rock 18 times. You've never seen this movie.
I've seen it like 3 times.
It's not. It can't be true.
It is. I've listened to the soundtrack more, but whatever. Stop getting angry at me because you know I'm not going to watch. I know I haven't watched these movies. You know that.
Annexation of Puerto Rico?
Did that just like happen in real life? Yeah, it did. Is that a movie? You're just going to keep embarrassing me here.
All right, so what next? They go to school, right?
No, we missed a big part of this where after the Soul Skaters leave the pit, they
right.
They go to the group of skateboarders and they go out to them, and then Brink's like, yo, do you think skateboarders are like dumb and stupid and everything? And the skaters are like, no, who said that? It was it you? And he goes, no, but it's the people in the yellow over there, which is Team X Blades. So the skateboarders go and basically smack around X Blades. But the thing is, the skateboarder is way too old to be smacking this teenager.
Those are adults
around. Those are adults, and he swings at Val. He hits his head a couple of times.
Yeah, they just go over and assault and harass the X-Blades. And these are adult skateboarders. They didn't cast any teenage-looking people. These are just adults.
Yeah. But the scene ends there. There's no build from that, really. So the next scene, we go to Brink's house, where Brink's dad, Ralph, is complaining that his son is too happy all the time, and that's unnatural. And that Kate is complaining about school because, and she wants to be homeschooled like the Wyatts because they are Mormons. And Kate asks, why can't we be Mormons? Which the mom responds that she'll look into it.
It's nice of the mom.
That's nice, yeah. I mean, I don't think she'll look into it, but...
Is this the same day?
I don't know. It said afternoon time again.
It said the time?
No, it just felt like that. It was the vibe it was giving off.
Right. But then he goes to school the same day. So either you fit him waking up, cleaning his room, going to skate, going back home, and then going to school all in one day, or this is like a very confusing transition in days.
Yeah, now that you like bring it to my attention and explain it out to me, it doesn't make any sense. But it is summer at this point, and they return to school at the end of summer vacation. So maybe it's like the weekend or like a Monday. Who knows?
I feel like, they feel like separate days.
Yeah.
But the movie doesn't help. It doesn't help you realize.
No. I don't think anything really else happens in this scene. We learn that Brink's dad is returning or planning on returning to work soon because of his back issues.
Right.
And then Brink heads off to school with his least favorite lunch that his dad made for him.
Was it his least favorite or was his favorite?
No, the dad says, I made you like your least favorite. The dad's really like mean to Brink throughout the first part of the movie.
Wait, yeah, I honestly, it felt like a very nice conversation where he was like, "I made you your
Oh
favorite."
no, he was like, because the thing is, Brink's supposed to be this happy all the time kind of guy, and even though his dad made him bologna on a sandwich with extra mayo, Brink's still happy about it. He's like smiling.
Right, Mr. Brink is like, no one should be this happy all the time because it's not normal.
Mm-hmm.
Which is a super boomer thing to say, but he's not even the biggest boomer in this movie. So
He's not. He's not. But I do want to say something that doesn't make me a boomer is Brink enters the kitchen and says, "Yo, what's up, fam?" Which aged really well for a movie in the 90s. And then as Brink leaves, he gives a little peace sign, and the mom just kind of does a little peace sign back. And I thought that was really cute. Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
It was a cute moment, but so maybe the next day, I don't know. They go to school, and the fellows, the soul skaters, meet up, and they're like talking about summer vacation, but then we see they're talking about how Gabrielle has changed, and she comes off the bus in a dress and heels, I think.
Yeah, she's wearing heels.
So she has gone girly to bring the point of she's a tomboy skater home.
Right. Her parents said that it's normal for Peruvian girls to go to school in a dress on the first day.
Mm-hmm. So they're sitting on the stairs. This, oh my goodness, any S word in this is going to be terrible.
It's gonna be terrible. Hasn't already, man.
It's embarrassing, but they're sitting on the stairs, which I think shows the harsh realities of skaters having to take off their like skates when they get to a destination.
The process.
Because like you never see it in these movies. Because like it happened with that trend of Heelys. Like when you got to a place, you would have to take the wheels out to walk places.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they're just kind of like, they're just in the middle of everybody.
Yeah, they're blocking the stairs.
Blocking the stairs, and I don't know. I would hate that. I don't know how you do it. It's impressive. That's probably the most impressive part about being an inline skater.
So as they're sitting on the stairs, Val and the rest of the Blades skate by and they steal Pete's shoes and they chuck them up on the power line because apparently that's how they get there.
The power line just looked like a rope.
It probably was.
It was a black rope.
I respect that. But Gabriella, once like the Blades leave, Gabriella offers Pete her shoes that she was gonna change into at school because she's a tomboy. Remember that. And the scene just kind of ends with them all putting their hands in and saying, "There's nothing us soul skaters can't do."
Right. I don't even know if it's like tomboy. I think she just doesn't want to wear a dress or heels.
Which is fine because that's not what people do anymore.
Right.
But one thing I wanted to bring up about this scene is we see the rest of the Blades a little bit more because we see Boomer, and this is the one actor I know because he is Zach from the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, and that was exciting to me.
I was hoping that you remembered. I had a point here to make sure that you did remember because I'd be worried if you didn't. I never watched Power Rangers.
Oh my god!
At least not the first one, not Mighty Morphin.
All of it's on Netflix. I started watching Mighty Morphin, but there's way too many episodes just of baloney happening. But right. I was happy to see. I think his first name's Walter.
Walter Emmanuel Jones.
Yeah, well, he's killing the game as always.
As always.
But yeah, that's that scene. And then we cut to science class where the soul skaters talk about how, like, is Val going to bug us the rest of the year? Brink says he has a plan, and he points to the worms that the science teacher is talking about. You have
You
your fist up.
recognize the science teacher.
No, I do not.
How?
I told you I reached my quota for one known actor for each movie.
We've talked about him before.
Have we?
It's Tom Virtue, our leading DCOM recurring actor.
Yeah.
The dad from the fake movie in Under Wraps.
So we get our first time we see a repeat in this movie. That's exciting.
Yeah.
It's a big moment for our podcast.
It's a big moment.
And I missed it.
And you missed it. Congratulations, Tom Virtue. We're big fans of your work.
Yeah. Little claps. I just want to say he is a terrible teacher because his students are basically getting up and talking in the middle of class.
They're so loud.
They're loud and they're standing up, basically.
Yeah, they don't even try and like make it like quiet. They're standing up. Also, stop teaching in the dark.
Yeah, students fall asleep. Come on.
It doesn't work. Students fall asleep.
You know that. The students say, you even say it as a teacher. Don't do it.
Right. And if you're a teacher, if you're our teacher and you're listening to this, same goes for your classes.
I know we're like at home and everything learning, but still, keep the lights on.
Right. Keep the lights on. Students fall asleep. So it's just a little PSA.
Well, thank you for that PSA. So after that short scene in the science class, we go to lunch where they put the plan in the action. So Jordy spills some milk at the Blades table. Gabriella steals Val's sandwich. Brink puts the worms in to the sandwich. And then Pete returns it back to the table where Val eats the sandwich full of worms and spits it out.
Right. It's an impressive, like, one full camera shot of that whole thing.
I think this is the best cinematography we have seen yet in DCOMs.
Yeah, I can say that.
There's nothing else big that has stood out or been attempted, but right now, this is the top moment.
Yeah, definitely. There are a lot of, there's some potential in You Lucky Dog, but they didn't meet any, it was bad.
Yeah. So once Val eats the sandwich and is pissed, of course, he starts making his way over to the Soul Skater's table, but a lunch monitor steps in and stops him.
Some adult. Yeah.
He doesn't say anything bad, like I'm going to kill you or something that would require somebody coming over.
Right. He just kind of loudly yells after he bites into worms. And apparently the entire outside cafeteria of people eating lunch all knew what happened.
Yeah. Everybody knew the worms were in the sandwich. But the monitor doesn't really stop him, and he makes his way over the table where Val's like, we're going to take it out back.
I have a question.
Okay. I probably don't have an answer, but go ahead.
Do schools actually let you eat lunch outside? I get that it's 1998.
In California.
In California.
My high school, there was a little area that was surrounded by the building. You couldn't leave out of that area. But we had a little outdoor eating area that I like to eat at.
Yeah, I know it wasn't an option. I think I also only had a lunch period once in high school, so I didn't explore the option. But that
sounds illegal.
Well, you just schedule all of your days to not all of your periods you don't have classes for, not the 4 lunch periods.
Okay.
So that way you have more freedom to go and do whatever you want with that time.
Go to school, kids, or you end up like Tony.
What's wrong?
We're going to take it out back. And by out back, I mean we're gonna race.
Let's take it out back, you and me.
Okay. I got my blades. You got your blades?
Yeah, and I also found 20 garbage cans that we can flip over.
Yeah, just in the middle of the the school walkway.
Yeah.
He's the one who says we're gonna take it out back, but he gets Boomer to do the race for him.
No.
No?
It's a relay race.
It is a relay race. I've completely missed every single other character in this scene.
Right, it's important to note. So yeah, we'll run it back here.
Thank you.
So Val is like, hey, he goes to like go confront them, and then like they hold up a sign that says "Don't be a wuss." Mm-hmm. So he doesn't tell on them to the lunch monitor lady.
Yeah.
But then he goes up to them and is like, hey, let's take it out back.
Okay.
So they all go out back. Everyone else in the world goes out back, except any adult. They decide to run a relay race. And it's going to start with Gabriella and BJ.
I didn't know the other two X-Blades had names. I knew Spiky-Haired Blade and Blonde Blade, I think.
All right, Blonde Blade is BJ. Spiky Hair is Worm.
I'm going to forget this, but go on.
Boomer is Boomer.
Yeah.
Val is Val. Spiky Hair guy kind of has some character development, but like absolutely, couldn't even tell you his name. They're going to start the race. Gabriella and BJ start. Then Peter and Worm go next.
Mm-hmm.
Then it's Jordy and Worm, and then Peter and Boomer. And when Peter tags Brink, Boomer goes to tag Val but gets hurt on the way down. Finally tags Val, and Val takes off, but Brink, being the kind soul and protagonist of this movie, decides to help Boomer out, and he points to a random kid who is like anxiously staring in a different direction, and he tells him to go run and get the nurse.
Which is bad because skating is banned at school. And that's why Brink didn't want to do the race in the first place, but Val insulted him.
Right. Logically, skating's banned during school hours. For situations like this.
Yes. Brink pulls a Lightning McQueen here. And he'll do that a lot throughout the film. He'll see somebody get hurt during a race where he is racing as well. And then go back and help them.
Right, Boomer's gonna be like, Boomer seemed nice all movie. Like, Boomer's clearly better than Val is morally.
Yeah, in the scene outside of the school, he's like, I didn't know we were gonna like throw the shoes up there. I thought we were just gonna make fun of them.
Yeah, and he's like, yeah, you know what, whatever. Yeah, Boomer's a nice guy. Brink hangs back. Boomer's like, you stay back to help me? And he's like, yeah, why wouldn't I? And he's like, I don't get you, man. And then he says, get in line or something like that. But I don't know.
I've seen Boomer get like blasted by space aliens. So this little bump into a stair railing shouldn't hurt him one bit.
Right. This feels like one of the injuries that looked not serious.
I mean, it looked like it would hurt. It was like a knee straight into a metal railing.
Right.
But Boomer is now out for like a couple months at most for skating. So it's a serious injury.
Yeah, it's a serious injury, and he's out a few weeks, which means the X-Blades need somebody in his place. But I'm jumping ahead, aren't I?
Yes, because
Okay.
in the next scene, we go back to Brink's house where Brink's dad is fixing. Nope, I'm sorry, that's another scene. Brink's dad has picked up Brink from school, and we learn that Brink has been suspended for skating, which I don't get the whole suspension thing in schools.
Just for the rest of the day, also.
Yeah, they're at school again, right?
He's not suspended the next day.
Well, I don't know. Maybe their skating rules are lax there, and you're allowed to have inline skating races in the middle of the day with minimum consequences.
Yeah, Mr. Brink's not happy. They're very clearly in front of a green screen while they're having this car conversation.
Yeah, it was a weird choice to have a top-down convertible, I believe, in the scene because it's just pure green screen instead of like outside of the window. But
Right.
it was fun.
Also, the car is going to randomly break down.
Yeah, so like they have like a little conversation, and you could see Brink's dad is frustrated, and then the car just breaks down, and that's the end of the scene. Brink's dad's just frustrated.
That car's too nice to break down.
Yeah, it wasn't like a clunker or anything.
It's
Although,
like
granted, we only see the car at the end.
it's like an old school. It's an old school nice car that if someone owns, they're probably taking good care of.
Mm-hmm.
And it just breaks down.
Yeah, no, we had no explanation about that. But then we go back to Brink's house. We cut there. It's nighttime. We know that because it's dark out. And Brink's dad is at the table, and he's frustrated at all the money he has to spend on the car, Kate's braces. And we learn that like his mom's not selling any houses as a real estate agent, which is now the most common job in DCOMs. And then we learn that Brink's dad might not be getting his job as a construction foreman back.
Could not happen in 2020. Not allowed.
Not one bit. No.
OSHA would not be happy.
OSHA would have many, many issues. But we're not OSHA here. We're here to have fun.
We're
Let's shout out
anti-OSHA.
OSHA. Are we? I like safety.
Depends. What's the cost? Fun?
You got to weigh it, yeah. The
Right.
fun to injury probability. It's an equation. But during this whole conversation, we pan over to Brink, who was on the other side of the wall in cliche fashion and has heard this whole conversation of parents complaining about money.
Just as an aside, the camera is randomly like zooming in on the mom and the dad's face, but at an extremely slow rate this entire conversation, where I thought I was going crazy.
Maybe it's the better cinematography. It shows you the tension of the scene with the slow zoom and these people getting torn apart, families getting destroyed by jobs and money. Does that make sense?
I think so.
Cool. Okay, because I can't explain that again.
All right.
So we go to the next scene, which is at an unidentified stairwell, I believe. I don't think it's at school.
I don't think so either.
Like, good. It's just in the middle. They're sitting on a stairwell, and the Soul Skaters are talking about how each of their parents dealt with their suspensions. This leads to another cliche of both. We get two here. We get one of the divorced parents of Gabrielle, and then we get the hatred of a stepdad trope for Pete.
Pete also has a divorced parents in that situation.
Well, yeah. So double divorce and a stepdaddy hates.
Right. And I think it's much more prominent with like the main characters. Like Brink is gonna have two parents, which I can't say is gonna be the norm for main characters in DCOMs.
Yeah.
But my main problem here, they're all sitting outside complaining about like, oh well, my mom did this, my dad did this, and there were no consequences. They're sitting outside the next day at some random place. They weren't grounded. Their skates weren't taken away. Nothing happened.
You do have a point here. There's no consequences to these actions.
Yeah, what are they complaining about? A conversation when they were like, their parents were like, "You're not allowed to skate during school."
And they went, that's not cool, bro. That's not ill.
Yeah, and they're like, "That's fine. We're not suspending. We're not taking away any of your stuff. You're not grounded, but just don't do that." And then they left and went to complain.
Yeah. There's no consequences for the actions, but here we are. So after they all complain, Brink says they have to cool off with the blades, but in comes Val and the blades minus Boomer since he's injured. And Val here says that Boomer is out for the invitational and that there's an open spot on the team, which is for none of them. He likes to rub that in there.
Yeah, he's gonna say it's for none of them, but he clearly is like leading Brink on.
It confused me a little bit why he was like leading Brink on, because we learned that Brink's main motivation, or at least one of his main motivations for joining the Blades, is to make money for his family. But Val doesn't know this.
Right. But he clearly knows, like, Brink's the next best skater that he knows. Also, Brink might be the best skater he knows. It's hard to tell who is the best skater throughout this movie.
Yeah, everybody is a, like, fine skater. Val stands out, and I guess Brink stands out. They all do well.
Yeah, everybody, like, the soul skaters all stand out, except, I guess, Jordy doesn't really have a moment.
No, he just gets in the montage at the competition later.
Yeah. We'll get into it. Let's try and figure out who the best one is throughout this, because I can't. Okay. I don't know who it is.
We'll see if we can figure it out. But so Val is talking about rubbing it in all the perks that come with being a sponsored skater, and then here's where we see it catches Brink's eye that they make money for per week and per competition they win.
That's gonna come up. I think they're just gonna rub in his face like, oh yeah, we make money. And then he's like, money.
Ooh, the balloons.
And then we're gonna cut to the pit, the crowded pit where only the soul skaters. You have me down it.
You did. I am a inspiration to all people who can't talk.
You cut to the pit where you only have the soul skaters practicing. And Brink says, I gotta go. I have a family thing. And he's gonna run off to a warehouse owned by the X-Blads.
The X-Blads.
X-Blads. X-Blads. Where, first off, terrible logo.
Yeah, if you're gonna have like blades in your name and no blades in your logo, you're a failure.
It's just a giant X and then the word blades in tiny letters on a diagonal.
And then there's like a little circle around it that doesn't completely close. Either way, it's a failure of a logo for such a cool name. If it has a Z, you got to expect to have a really ill logo.
A real ill logo. And then they don't.
They don't, but that's besides the point.
You're dropping the ball.
I did want to bring up from last scene, you're bringing up some lingo here. Val uses the insult grommets. And I thought that was funny. That's all I got to say.
I concur.
Okay, cool. So the building where Brink is at is where they're having tryouts for the open spot on the X-Blades. So Brink kind of like sneaks in there and hides a little bit while the rest do their little tryout things. And when the tryout stops, we cut to Val and the rest of the Blades. They're talking about people they saw, but Val doesn't want any of them. He wants Brink. And the rest of them make fun of him like he's not going to show up. And then Brink shows up.
What do you think of all those boxes?
That was something that caught my attention. There's stacks of boxes with the logos on it. Like, we know they get merchandise, like t-shirts, blades, equipment, but I have no clue. Because once again, they don't ever say the range of how the Blades and like sponsored inline skating teams reach.
Right. There's gonna be a quote in a scene a little later on where Jimmy says they make $10 million in merchandise.
And he also says in that next scene that they have over 1,200 outlets worldwide, which I don't know what that means.
Right. Because I feel like a good 50% of those outlets could all fit in Venice, California.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know how the reach of inline skating is outside of Venice, California, and the maybe teenage to young adult population.
Right. I like inline skating doesn't make sense to me. It's cool.
It's impressive.
It's impressive. Yeah. It's not a thing I've heard about outside of Brink.
They do like inline skating at the Olympics, but that's ice skating. I didn't know there was a whole subsection of rollerblades.
Me neither.
So, you say something.
Also, there's more boxes coming in.
They're unloading a bunch of boxes.
Yeah.
To the already big stash of boxes.
They're just They're just a bunch of like cardboard boxes, clearly painted black, with just a printout of the X-Blades logo on the box. But there's maybe hundreds of them.
There's an insane amount, and I don't know how many people would like rep X-Blades merchandise other than this small group of people who enjoy inline skating.
They also feel like they have enough money to have two warehouses, one for merchandise and the other for letting the X-Blades practice, but no, they share.
Same building.
Same building. Same doorway.
Yeah, it's blocking everything. It's in the way. But so when they see Brink, Val pretends that he doesn't want Brink to be there. But Brink tells him like he asks, how much do you pay? And Val tells him like it's $200 a week plus $200 for any competition they win. And he's like, okay, do a little street run for us, which is like a 30-second freestyle, I guess, of skating and tricks. We get a montage of Brink doing his little street run, which is impressive. I like to reiterate that the skating is real impressive. You might become a little desensitized to it by the end because they do everything so flawlessly. But he does a street run, and Val says that he's on the team. But Brink says he doesn't want the Soul Skaters to know that he's on the team and that this is only for the invitational, that he's going to skate for them. And then Val agrees to this, but he tells Brink that he has to start showing him some respect. And then Brink agrees to that, and they go to see Jimmy.
Right. There's going to be this weird running theme where we're not allowed to tell the Soul Skaters although he wants to tell the soul skaters for a good portion of the movie,
Mm-hmm.
and then he goes, you know what? Never mind. I'll just lie to them.
The weird thing that I got out of that was the soul skaters were preparing to like do the invitational anyway. And even if they weren't, they were going to show up to it because it's the biggest inline skating competition. There's not many of them. It's the biggest inline skating competition that there is right now. So they would show up anyway.
There's an ability for him to be like, hey guys, my family really needs money right now. So I'm joining the X-Blades just for the invitational. I'm gonna get some money for my family, but then I'm back with you guys for the championship, which we learn you do not need to go to the invitational for.
It makes absolutely no sense. But the story goes, there's no, like, if you win the invitational, you move on to the championship. The only thing was that the X-Blades have won the invitational the past 2 years, and they've also gone on to win the championship the past 2 years.
Right, it's some weird momentum thing. But it's not necessary.
No.
And we're back at our second straight DCOM of the moral of this movie being tell the truth.
Tell the truth, guys.
Tell the truth.
Just do it.
Seems doable.
Especially when people would understand that you're doing it for the money. Like, I know the whole soul skater, it's in the heart thing. But if somebody's going through a tough time, you make that money.
Yeah, but even then you're just like, look, I'm going to do this. He's going to, spoiler, he's going to convince them to let him back in eventually. Just start that process a little bit earlier.
Yeah. So after that trial run, they go to Jimmy's office, and he's just talking about, he's flexing how big X-Blades is. And he asks Brink if he's willing to go big.
They're like the most 90s room ever.
Yeah, it's dark. It's got like the bright yellow logo, and it's got like monitors.
Yeah, and it's got like probably like neon lights along the outskirts of the room to like light up displays, and it's like it's very clearly 90s. It looks like a bat cave.
It does. This whole movie looks very 90s, like from the moment it starts with the like very baggy clothes and just the whole vibe.
Yeah. This is the scene where they say they moved $10 million in merchandise.
Yeah, and this is also the scene where they talk about the 1,200 outlets. It just makes me question how popular inline skating is. It's cool, but it's not that popular.
$10 million in merchandise.
That's better than so many companies.
It's better than us.
It's better than us. I'd take $10 million.
I'd take $10 million easy.
I'd take $10. I would prefer 10 million, but I'd take $10.
Any number divisible by 10, I'll take.
Honestly. And I think we have a more reachable market than inline skating. And I don't think that's hard.
Exactly. Inline skating, I don't know why they don't talk about how big it is or how it got so big. They talk about how big it is. I don't know why they don't. Why is it a $10 million? Why is Inline Skater magazine a thing?
It's just that popular. They have their own magazine for it. It's not just skating magazine where they have a little section on inline skating. It's inline skating magazine.
I completely missed this point early on, but since we're back on the topic of inline skating magazine, the photographer's like, I on a tight schedule. Where are we going to take photos? What schedule? You have a hat that says Inline Skating Magazine, so you're not freelancing.
No.
So you only work for this magazine. This is like a hidden $1 billion industry. Has to be billion.
Maybe we should get into the industry of inline skating.
How do we get in on this?
I'll drop the pod right now, and we'll go into inline skating.
Wait,
It's
what?
more profitable. What? I'm going big, man.
They said we couldn't make it 1 episode. They said we couldn't make it 2. They said we couldn't make it 3.
We didn't promise 4.
We won't make it 4. Who is they, you ask? Us. It's us. We're they.
Yeah. We doubt ourselves. But since we found the more lucrative business here, that's not podcasting, we're going to do it.
Exactly. Here we
are. We're an inline skater crew now. We have a name?
The X-Blads.
Can we be the money skaters? As
the
like
money skaters.
The opposite to the soul skaters? We're just in it for the money.
We're the money ball of skaters.
We wear all green, and we have like money chains and everything.
We find skaters purely based off of analytics. We're bringing analytics to inline skating.
We're being innovative here. We're bringing inline skating to the 2020s.
Are you proud of us? We're finally being innovative.
We'll talk about more off the pod about our inline skating crew.
But if you want in, send us some money, and we'll get you in on this inline skating business. We can't make any promises.
Yeah.
But
so after Jimmy starts talking, he asks Brink to join the team under the stipulation that he cannot compete for anybody else and that he is available 24/7 for things like photo shoots, promotional events, all leading into how big that industry is of inline skating and X-Blades. And then Brink agrees and they shake on it.
And then he goes, wait, your parents know, right? Right?
I was going to question it. I'm like, he has to have some parental representation here. He's signing a contract, basically.
He needs a signature.
Yeah, they just did a handshake deal. Newsflash, that's not a real thing. That's not legally binding.
Especially with a guy like Jimmy.
Yeah, he's got that sleazy mentality. It's obvious.
Big time.
So after that scene, we go back to Brink's house where Brink is walking inside, but his sister Kate sees him with a bag of the X-Blades merch, and she calls him out for it. And then Brink just says, "It's none of your business," and goes inside.
Well, he shot off a classic Nunya joke.
Yeah, Nunya, come on.
Yeah, no, what's Nunya?
The peak humor we are experiencing here. So,
it's classic.
Honestly. And I think we get another, like, more of that classic trope of that little sister. I feel like we're going to experience it throughout, being, like, the know-it-all and the one who, like, calls out the main male character.
Can we track the most annoying younger sibling?
I think we can. Because Katie's definitely up there. She only makes side comments.
There's no competition yet. But I don't think we need to rank them. I think we just need to keep tabs on who the most annoying one is.
Yeah. We're going to see her again, so.
Mm-hmm. I already have another ranking suggestion coming up.
Okay.
But we're not there yet.
Okay, when we get there, I'll forget to remind you.
But I have it written down, so we'll be fine. But let's track the most annoying younger sibling.
That sounds good.
Yeah, it's got to be younger.
Yeah, because there's always, like, it's never like the older. I mean, I guess it's the older, like, nagging on the younger.
The older's just usually right.
Yeah, yeah.
I guess once we get to, like, the Phineas and Ferb movie, the oldest. Okay, so we'll just track the most annoying sibling.
Okay. So after the Nunya joke, Brink goes inside up to his room, and he opens up the bag of merch, which has new blades and, like, a new helmet. And what he decides to do here, I think, is really weird. He hides the merch in his laundry basket. But the thing is, he's going to tell his parents about it in the next scene that like he's planning on joining the team. And his friends aren't coming over. So who is he hiding this merchandise from?
It doesn't make sense.
I don't know.
He's got a big enough room that he doesn't need to like stuff them in the bottom of his laundry. I don't get it.
Yeah, and the bag didn't have like an X-Blades logo on it, so he could have just put the bag somewhere in his room. It would have blended in.
Yeah, it's real weird. It's real bizarre. No one, like the one time someone does enter his room, he could have prepared for it.
Yeah, there was no reason to be rushed putting that stuff away and hiding it. But we see him flop down on the bed, conflicted. And then we cut to dinner time where the mom does the classic, "You're not eating. What's wrong?" And then Brink says he was thinking about getting a job to help make some money for the family. And his mom's against it. She's like, "Oh, you don't have to work. There's nothing wrong here." But his dad's intrigued about him getting a job. He's the dad. And then Brink says he's planning on joining the sponsored skating team that makes monies. And his dad does a full 180, a full 540, if I do say so myself. Yeah?
I guess.
I don't know how much rotation is 540, but he flips his deal, his dad.
I think the mom does more of a 540.
Yeah, the mom does a 540 because she flip-flops.
The dad does a 180.
Yeah, which isn't a trick in inline skating, apparently. At least we don't hear about it.
It could be, but then you land backwards. Like you go up the ramp and
People land backwards in the movie.
No, you know what it is? You know what the problem is? You wanna always do a 180.
Yeah?
Yeah, you wanna go up the ramp and you wanna turn around and then come down.
Oh. Yeah, that's how spins work. I don't know. We don't hear of a 180, but the dad's like, "Okay, you just got suspended from school for skating. You're not joining the team." And Brink is sad.
A few things here. His mom says no, then his dad says yes, then his mom says yes, and his dad says no, then his mom also tags on and says no. So the mom does a 540.
Officially.
So the first successful 540 of the movie, under not really brought up.
Yeah, so, it was a low-key 540.
Credit where credit to do. What? Credit where credit is due to Maggie Brink.
Did she get a stunt skater for that scene?
Yes.
Sweet.
The dad does a
180?
A 180. The dad does a 180.
Yeah.
Because he starts off as a yes and then goes to a no. They don't have a problem with him skating normally.
They don't.
Why don't they have a problem with him skating? Why would they have a problem with him skating for money?
I think the loose explanation they try to give here is that it's going to take his mind off of school more, even though this was an isolated skating incident at school. And it's like, he's going to skate anyway. So why not let him make money? Are the parents believers of soul skaters and refuse to make money?
Right. It's just confusing. Like they're like, you can't skate. You just got suspended for skating and now you want to skate for money? It's like you let him skate for fun.
Why not let him make $200 per week?
And that he's offering to give to you.
Also, the X-Blades, as we've talked about previously, is a big thing. They're a reputable team.
Right. They're a $1 million industry.
A $10 million industry.
That's just off of merch.
That's insane.
What's next? Is Peter and Brink are gonna have a phone call, right?
Yes. So they're talking on the phone, and Pete is talking about the sesh. That's what they call their skating practices, a sesh. they're talking about the sesh at the pit. And we learned that Jordy smashed his crotch on a rail and he didn't want to put ice on it. And they were all laughing about it, but the thing was, Pete says it wasn't the same without Brink.
I've been in Jordy's situation.
Yeah? How was that?
It was rough.
She put ice on it?
No, because then it was a whole thing. There are people who listen to this podcast that might get mad if they hear the story. So we're not gonna, we won't delve into it.
You're really the Jordy of this pod, I would say.
I think so.
That's a good thing.
Emotionally, I'm a Peter.
Yeah,
Physically, I'm a Jordy.
that's cute.
Thanks.
Brink then tries to muster up the courage to tell Pete that he has joined X-Blades, but here comes the stepdad of the year, as Pete says, and he makes him get off the phone because this is the 90s and you can only be on one line.
So let's talk about this.
Okay.
I realize, I don't think we can make a game out of this anymore. So I'm gonna reward you the 1 point for ill.
Yes, that's ill, man. That's ill.
But we do need to touch on this because this shouldn't be in a DCOM. Where, as Peter's getting off, he says, I gotta get off or else my stepdad's gonna go postal.
I miss that. That's insane. You can't just say that. Like, I know he hates the stepdad, but still.
Right. So you know what going postal is. For anyone that doesn't know what going postal is, it's not a great thing to put into a DCOM. It leads back to like early, well, maybe not early, but mass shootings in America, and apparently for a while it was a lot of postal workers. And just not like, it isn't great.
No, we don't like murder on this podcast. We said it before.
Like, yes. And it's not great to put in. I don't think it's the worst thing they put in the movie, though.
Okay, I'm interested to hear what you think it is, but
we're gonna encounter that later with Val and Gabriella.
Okay. Oh no, I know what you're talking about. I'm excited to get to there.
Right. I don't think it's the worst. Therefore, I don't think it's the worst thing that we've heard in any of the movies so far. I think still the conversation about Amy in Under Wraps is probably the worst up to this point, where that's not cool. And I think this is worse than the Gilbert dancing and singing Nazis bit.
I think so. It's not like as clear. Like, I guess if you're a kid, you're gonna miss that, like the full meaning of going postal.
Right.
But still.
Right. It's like it none of them need to be in here in these movies, but this one was just like, whoa.
Yeah.
But yeah, so let's go on.
Okay. So the next day, the Soul Skaters are in a baking class, and Brink is once again trying to muster up the courage to tell them that he is an X-Blades, and he says, baking a cake is a lot like friendship. I missed the part when he said why, but that was the metaphor he was going with.
Do you ever take a cooking class in high school? You ever take a home ec?
It wasn't a home ec. It was just, we had two different cooking classes, which were basically the same. But it was the greatest because if you just weren't a terrible person to the teacher, she loved you, and you got food at the end of the day.
We had that class too, and it was actually more like middle school.
Interesting.
and you would cook. But then, like, one time when we were all getting food, some kid went up for seconds. And our teacher hated that and said, "All right, we're done cooking." And it was like, "Whoa, just make him done.
Yeah.
What
You don't
did
need
the
to
rest
punish
of us
everybody.
do?" And then we exclusively did sewing for the rest
That
of the
help
year.
did
Or
it help you in
corner.
life? Yeah.
No, I had to relearn it in college.
They talk about that invitational, and he's about to say he's joining the X Blades, but they just laugh at him and tell him to not eat any more frosting because the sugar is making him crazy.
Yeah, this seems weird. But Val walks in.
Yeah, you can tell this movie was made in the 90s because the door to the outside via the classroom was just open. And definitely today that's not going to happen. But Val walks in and he starts to make fun of the Soul Skaters, and he tells them that the Blades have won the Invitational and Championship the past 2 years. And then Gabrielle calls Val a jerk, and Val goes to Brink and says, "Do you agree with that statement?" And Brink's trying to like brush it off and say, "It doesn't matter. Let's just move on." But then Val keeps questioning him, and he gets Brink to tell him that he's not a jerk, which gets the Soul Skaters all like sensors go off in their brains.
Yeah, he gets them all real confused.
Yeah.
I don't know why he tells them they've won the invitation in the past 2 years. They certainly have to have known.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the inline skating community in Venice is tight.
Weren't they there?
They had to be there. They sound like they competed.
Right. But here we are.
Here we are. And then Val also says to confuse the Soul Skaters that he'll see Brink later this afternoon. Something weird here. They question Brink and ask why he let Val slime all over him. I don't know what that means, and I don't want to find out. And then Brink says that Val's not worth their time. And that's the end of the scene. I just think there's another bad teacher at the school who, when a random student walks to the classroom and makes a decent scene, I feel, doesn't get kicked out.
Just walks in.
Walks in, he starts talking loudly, like people who else are in the class look at him. So people hear him.
That certainly could happen at my high school.
Yeah, especially in a cooking class.
Yeah, but like even in a regular class, like you could walk into a class and start having a conversation with someone. I've seen it happen.
It's just that Venice Beach kind of vibe.
It's a very California school. With half of it outside. It might be the same school that's that Under Wraps is in.
I didn't notice it. You might be right.
Just as a shot in the dark at the fact that they were both schools outside that I think probably shot in California.
It's a good guess. I'll give you that. You have evidence enough for me. So at the next scene, we're back at the Blades training facility, I'm going to call it. And Brink is skating around. He's doing his tricks. And he like stops his run. And he gets all like the other Blades laughing. But then Val comes and he's like, "Do the move again. Like, you monkey. Like, come on, like, do the trick again."
Do the trick again. He's like, go run it again. While Brink is like sitting down drinking water.
Yeah, because he just did an intense set of tricks.
For a while, it seemed like.
Yeah. But Brink's like, that's real stupid. I'm not gonna do that. And then Val's like, you'll be off the team if you don't. And then Brink just goes out there, and that's the end of that scene.
Yeah, because then Brink's gonna sprint on over to the pit.
Yeah.
Gonna get to the pit. Gonna be like, "Hey, sorry I'm late. I'm here to practice." No other people at the pit. No people who are like, hey, why you guys just sitting around? I
Yeah.
want to use the pit. No, nothing.
Uh,
No one cares about the pit.
They've hyped up the pit to be a lot in that first scene and hasn't lived up to that yet. So they get back to there and they're talking about like the new guy that the Blaze have found, which apparently I feel like in the inline skating community, people would know who it was.
Right. It's not even the inline skating community. It's just like they go to school with Val. They go to school with all of them. Like, you're telling me like Worm or the other dude are smart enough not to be like, hey, guess who we got? Losers.
Yeah. But then Brink tries to play this off and he says like, yeah, I heard the guy's big and Korean. And then he's like, wait, never mind. The guy's Native American. When he could have just said, yeah, it's a big guy. It's like a big white dude. He doesn't have to. I don't know how many like Korean or Native American people are in his area. You're gonna have a better chance with just a regular white dude, probably.
Right. If he just goes like, hey, no, I don't know. Or if he tells the truth. Good work.
Too easy.
Too easy.
They just say, Pete says, the guy isn't better than Brink, which is funny. And then Gabrielle says they just have to go harder, and they get back to skating. No more questions. And that scene's over. There's a lot of scenes here that just end without anything happening.
Yeah, there's a lot of just like, oh, we really need to have a conversation here.
And then we're gone.
And we're going to have the conversation, and we're not going to do anything else.
And they always like ponder off into the side when the scene's over, or they skate. That's the two different endings to a scene you're going to get here.
Exactly.
So in the next scene, we're back at Brink's house where Brink's dad is trying to fix his car. And Brink says like he yawns and his dad says, I hope it's not from skating because he is a known skater hater. And
here's my problem.
Yeah.
The dad says he's trying to fix his car with no auto mechanic knowledge.
Yeah.
There's no way someone who owns this car, this classic looking car, has no auto mechanic knowledge. There's no way.
And if he didn't, you would take it to a car repair shop because you don't want to mess that up.
Although apparently it did cost $900
to fix it.
Yeah, so I understand that.
Okay.
What I don't understand is if you own a car that nice, you care about cars. You know about cars.
You got a point, man. There's no answer to your question. I agree with you. I've got nothing.
99% of my points end with me shrugging and going, oh, well.
That's just the movie. But, so Brink says, it's not from skating. And Dad says, that's good. Because I got you a job at the dog grooming place. And this is bad because Brink already has a job and he has school. And Brink says, like, I don't need the job anymore. And Dad's like, no, you need the job.
Yeah, his dad got him a job at a dog grooming place. His friend owns a dog grooming. No owner guy in the 90s is friends. No guy that acts like him is friends with someone who owns a dog grooming company. There's no way.
It's very weird.
There's no way.
I feel like they just need to get like dog representation in the movie because this is the third movie with a dog in it, and they need just to slide it in there.
It's probably they have a warehouse full of dogs.
Yeah, they're like, got to use one for each movie. Come on, it's a DCOM warehouse. but apparently X-Blades will have more stuff in their warehouse. But that's besides the point. And then we get a montage with another ska song. I just want to bring that up because it makes me happy. Of Brink's day, where we see him just exhausted as he goes from school to the dog grooming place named Pups Suds. Then
I've mapped it out.
You've mapped it out? Please go.
Okay. Say no more. At 7 a.m., a young Andy Brink
Andy, yeah.
will wake up for school.
As you do, yeah.
My school started by 7. Like, you were there at 7 already.
Mine was 7:30, and I think I was up by like 6:50 when I was really pushing it senior year. So I get it.
Class started at 7:25. The bus probably got you there at 7. Whenever you woke up was up to you. But whatever. 7, he wakes up. 7:22, he puts stuff in his bag for school. At 9:46, he's going to be in class sleeping. At 12:34, he's going to be at lunch sleeping. At 2:30, he's going to show up to the dog washing place. At 2:48, he's going to be cleaning a dog. At 4:01, he's going to leave the dog shop. Someone hired him for an hour and a half of work.
I mean,
Less.
they can't legally hire him for like too long, but still, you have a point.
You can get a part-time job as a kid in the 90s.
Yeah, the rules were much more lax.
Yeah. Even now you can get a part-time job.
Yeah.
We're not anti-child labor in the United States yet.
No, they're just like, you have restrictions on how long they could work, and it's more than an hour and a half.
Right. He's not getting paid. He's getting paid under the table, and he works as long as the guy needs him to work. That's how this works. That's how it worked in 1998. That's how it worked in 2020.
Yeah.
Maybe not 20. No one works in 2020 anymore.
That's sad.
At 4:15, he's going to show up to the X-Blades. At 5:36, he's going to skate to the Soul Skaters. At 5:39, he's going to show up to the Soul Skaters. We didn't need both of those. 7:02, he's going to get home. 9:19, he's going to do his homework. 11:24, he's going to be asleep. Stop skating so much is the main issue in this.
Yeah. It's like you have a job as a pet groomer. You have a job as a skater. You just say you have to make some money now, and you'll be ready for the championship. Right. It's that simple.
Also, you can essentially drop out of the X-Blades now that you have this...
A real job, yeah.
Now that you have the dog job, because you were only there for the money, which I can respect.
Yeah.
But get out.
There's no reason there, and it's not like Val's gonna hate you less or more if you quit the team now.
He's also gonna he's gonna show up to the Soul Skaters at 5:39, but in a previous scene, Peter's like, I have to be home by 5:30, or else my stepdad's gonna get mad.
I think the thing is,
he's got his boss coming over.
Yeah, I think the only thing is, the next day is the Invitational, so I'm assuming it's a weekend. So maybe he gets to stay out till like 6:30 on the weekends.
Right. He doesn't have to be home for dinner.
Yeah, but it's easy to miss.
Right. So the next day's the Invitational.
Yeah, so he waits. Brink wakes up, and Pete shows up at his house. And we see that Brink is sick in bed, or so we think. But Brink's like, I can't make it to the Invitational, man. You guys should just go and have a skating sesh. Don't go to the Invitational. There's no reason to. It's not like you need the scout competition for the championship or anything.
It's not like you even need it to to be a part of the championship.
Yeah. He says it's not important. Just go skate like any other day. But Peter's just like, okay. And he leaves, and Brink gets up out of bed immediately after he leaves.
As
I'm
they're
pretty sure.
talking.
Oh, yeah.
You know.
I was just going to say, Pete definitely heard Brink get up out of bed, because as soon as Pete closes the door, Brink is up. It's odd.
Also, like, Brink's gonna spray his face with water while Peter's on the other side of the room, and he's gonna lay back down. The water's gone in the next shot.
Is it? He did some magic, so Pete didn't see it.
He like sprayed himself with water to make it look like he was sweating more, but then it's immediately gone.
Good for him. I also, just in this world we're living in today, it's weird to see a healthy friend go check up on a sick friend, but that's all. This was the 90s.
Right.
So the next scene is the Invitational, and Val's asking where Brink is, and Brink shows up to the competition. I don't know if he thinks it's a disguise or something. He shows up in some 90s shades, and that's all we get at the beginning.
Yeah, it's clearly not a successful disguise.
As we see later, yeah.
But he's also, you would think he's so convinced that he told them not to show up, that it would work.
Yeah, like if you told them not to show up and you think they won't show up, why even come disguised in the first place?
Who knows?
That's our motto, who knows? But we cut to the pit where Gabrielle, being like the logical one, goes, we should go to the Invitational because we're inline skaters and need to check out everything. And they drag Pete along.
Yeah. They head on over. Great move by Gabriella.
Yeah, she's a logical one in this group, apparently. And then they go back to the Invitational, and Brink is doing his thing on the what is it, the half pipe?
It's a half. Actually, I don't remember anymore. I think it's a half pipe. A half pipe is the, yeah, let's say half pipe.
It's the U-shaped thing, yeah. Mm-hmm. So he's doing that thing there, and he helps the Soul Skaters win the competition. But during this, the Soul Skaters show up, and
he helps the X-Blades win.
I'm sorry. In my heart, I wanted the Soul Skaters to win because I'm a Soul Skater myself. But yeah.
You're not a Soul Skater. You're just not good enough to get paid.
Whoa. You might be right, but that just hurts. I'm sorry. Jordy sees the guy's not Korean. And then Gabrielle's like, you stupid idiot. That's Brink in sunglasses. And as Brink is getting the bonus from Jimmy, the Soul Skaters basically jump Brink. They shove him down, kind of beat him up a little bit, and he's like, you're a sellout. And then they leave.
Yeah, they push him to the ground, and they're like, you're the worst. And they run away. But here's my point, because I think there's a better point to say this, but I'm going to forget.
Okay. Speak your piece now.
You and me are both big sports guys.
Yeah. Go sports.
Go sports. Let's rank these athletes.
Yeah.
We're gonna encounter a lot of athletes in these movies. Let's get an official ranking.
Okay.
I think you can have, I guess theoretically you can have as many as you want from a single movie. I think the most you're probably going to have is 2, maybe 3. But I think 2, especially here, I think 2 is a good spot.
Mm-hmm.
We can kind of discuss who those 2 are, but I think just having the rankings, because we're going to hit a lot of sports movies, especially before we get to any of your musicals.
Yeah.
They go heavy in on sports when they don't need to either.
Okay, I believe you.
So let's go throughout these and let's rank these athletes. Let's find out who the best athlete is in the DCOM universe.
Okay. Do you have like a ranking for this movie?
Well, I think we need to first dive in. I think Brink is obviously going into. I think we should cap it at 2 a movie.
Yeah. Because you're gonna get to the big team sports movies, and that's insane.
Yeah. And maybe 3 if it calls for it.
Yeah.
But I think Brink is definitely number 1. I feel like you have to have Val in there.
Yeah, at least the way the movie portrays both of them, they're 1 and 2.
They're gonna say Val is the best inline skater in the country, the number 1 ranked inline skater in the country, but they're also gonna say they don't know anything about Brink.
Yeah, Brink's an unknown. The Soul Skaters are unknown. But yeah.
So is Val better than Brink?
Movie-wise, they say Val is better than Brink. And even in the last race, you can't really tell because there's some hijinks that get involved.
Right.
But if I were to go off like my own personal opinion, I don't think there's like too much of a difference in between. So I'm going to say Brink's number 1. That might just be because I like him more.
But here's my other gripe. Peter's going to score the highest in any of the competitions we see.
Yeah, Peter hits an inverted 540 later on.
He's going to get a 98, and no one else is going to get a 98. Everyone else gets, the highest anyone gets is a 97, and I think Val and Brink get it. Brink just got it here.
Mm-hmm.
But no one else gets a 98. So is Peter?
We see more skating from Brink and Val, and we really only get that one Pete scene where he does well because all the other times he's not hitting that 540.
Right. Peter has the highest peak of all of them.
Yeah.
But is he the most consistently the best? When you're making a team, right, when you're making a team, your first 2 picks are going to be
Brink and
Val. Yeah, Brink and Val. Sans the cheating.
Yeah, and then I'd say Pete would be a 3.
Yeah, Pete and then Gabriella. I think Pete and Gabriella, but Pete also, it's the 98. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
But story-wise, he needs to get the 98, so he gets the 98.
So I think that's our top 3. I think we'll go Brink, Val, Pete.
But I think for the lexicon, we're going to have, we'll put Brink and Val in there. And I think you kind of got to put Brink first.
Yeah.
But the story implies that it's Val.
Yeah. The story definitely says that, but I think Brink is definitely the number 1. But you may also just be encouraged by the way they portray Brink throughout the movie compared to Val.
Right. So, in our official athlete ranking, Brink is going to be number 1. Val is going to be number 2.
Sweet. I'm excited for the rest of the rankings, especially when we get the High School Musical. Because I feel like we're going to get into a hot... Because basketball is, I think, both of our favorites.
That's not true.
No? Okay. I'm sorry. I don't know you at all. But I think we can get into a hot, heated discussion of basketball in the basketball movies.
Yeah. Yeah. And we're going to find a lot here. I think this is fun. This is going to be fun.
So I think we're done the invitational.
Right.
And so the Soul Skaters leave and Brink begins to chase after them. But we cut to the next scene and the Soul Skaters are already at the pier in the middle of a meal having a conversation when Brink shows up, even though he left right after the Soul Skaters.
It's a different day. This is a different day.
It's a different day?
Has to be.
I didn't know that. I couldn't tell. That's another time issue with this movie.
Right. There's a big time issue here because the associator's going to be eating here. Brink's going to say, hey, can I sit down? And they say, yeah. And then they're all going to get up and leave. He's going to call after them. And then Val's going to show up. Val has one, longer hair,
Does he?
2 different colored hair.
I am really bad at noticing these things because apparently I've got the mind of a child watching these DCOMs and don't notice these things.
He's got a backwards hat on, so I guess that throws it off a bit. But he doesn't. It's not the same day. It's not even the same month, I would guess. I'm shooting.
Also, there's one more time we come back to this pier where they're eating. It looks like they filmed it the same day because the sky looks exactly the same.
He's got the same hair and the hat.
Yeah, so it's confirmed?
Yeah. They shoot at the pier a completely different set of days than they do the rest of the movie.
Wonderful. I'm glad we called them out for this. So you're right. Val shows up and he says that the difference between the X-Blades and the Soul Skaters is that even though Brink left both teams, Val will still be his friend, and he gets Brink to join the team again.
Impressive move by Val.
A bold move, because he's very confident about it. He's like, oh, I can get Brink back.
Yeah, and also, is Boomer not healthy?
We see Boomer a bunch of other times. We see him in the next pier scene. What?
Healthy, moving his legs.
Yeah, he's walking. But the thing is, I guess every time Val has to talk to Brink, he needs to bring one of his X-Blades goons with him. And nobody was required to talk in this scene, so they got Worm. I'm sorry, Worm, and not BJ. I think spiky haired and blonde hair. One of them.
Worm's pretty nice to Brink.
I think most of the X-Blades are pretty nice to Brink, and then Val's just the really mean one, and they're like, maybe we shouldn't be treating Brink this way.
Right, he's clearly jealous.
Yeah. So then we go to the next scene, which is back at Brink's house, and Brink is on the porch while the rest of the family's inside. And then, contrary to the beginning of the movie, where Brink's dad was like, it's unnatural that he's happy all the time, he's saying it's weird how unhappy he is. So Brink's mom suggests that the dad goes to talk to him, which he reluctantly agrees to.
Right. And Mr. Brink's gonna call Brink.
I caught that.
Which is weird.
Especially since he's supposed to be I'm the guy who's against him skating, and Brink's his skating nickname.
Your dad wouldn't call you Arcaroli. It's his last name too.
Nobody calls you Tone Dog at your house?
But that's different. That's my first name. That's a play off of my first name. This is a play off of his last name. Doesn't make sense.
Doesn't. Once again, I've got nothing for you. They don't acknowledge it again. Yeah. It's weird, yeah. No. So Brink's dad goes outside to talk to him, and he's like, what's wrong? I haven't seen Jordy and Pete around. And he doesn't say anything about Gabrielle.
Right. I didn't notice that.
that's fine. We both catch different things, but he's like, where's Jordy and Pete? And he doesn't bring up Gabrielle, but later when he has another conversation with Brink, he only brings up Gabrielle.
Right. That one makes a bit more sense. It's weird that he leaves him out, but Brink Prime is I don't know, he's a weird guy. There's also this running gag where Brink Prime is I've never, why would I talk to Brink?
We're dudes.
We're dudes. I want to talk to him, but all they have several, face-to-face conversations throughout this whole movie. What they do in this movie. All they do is talk. And he's like, talk to my son?
No way. Yeah. But in this scene, Brink doesn't really say anything to the dad. So the dad gets up and leaves, and he says he'll always be there for Brink, really. I really thought we were going to get a revelation that the dad used to skate here. I thought it was going to be one of those moments like I hung up the skates a long time ago, but we didn't get it.
Nope.
That's all.
So cut to the downhill, which is just like a street.
It's a random road.
Yeah.
Which confused me because when I went out to skate today, my road was way too bumpy, and there was no way I'd be able to skate on that.
How'd that go?
I fell almost immediately and then had to crawl back up my driveway because I couldn't walk up onto the curb. It was a mess.
So next week you're decorating for Halloween?
What's next week?
Halloweentown.
It'd be October.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll start decorating.
Well,
can we wear costumes to the Halloweentown episode? I know it's an audio podcast.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll wear costumes.
Cool.
We didn't wear costumes for the last Halloween episode we did. When we're back. So the downhill is just a road.
Yeah.
And I can't even convince you. I can't be convinced that it's the same road that we see later.
It's definitely not the same road we see later.
But it sounds like it was supposed to be.
They did. They said this is the downhill for the championship. But it definitely looks different. Or they really just set dressed it a lot differently, which I have to give them props for then. But either way, there should be a lot more cars on this road. Or maybe this is just coming from the New Jersey state of mind I'm in, where there has to be cars on that road.
Yeah, they're just not even like New Jersey. It's California. California is bigger than New Jersey.
Yeah, and traffic's bad down there.
Down?
I hate you.
I guess it's down.
You know what I mean.
I guess it's down. So the X-Blades are there, and they're talking about it, and, like, Brink's going off in space thinking about jumps, and then...
Jumping between houses.
Yeah, jumping onto houses. Which you would think would pay off.
Doesn't.
It doesn't. Because they don't go to this course again.
Nope, never.
The Soul Skaters show up, and they also want to use the course. No one else is at this training for this competition. But Soul Skaters are, and X-Blades are.
They also complain here that, like, they just let anybody use this downhill. And I'm like, as we talked about before, it's just a road. Nobody has claim to the road, except cars.
Right. It's just a road.
Is this where we get to the moment?
Yeah.
Do you want to say it?
Yeah, I'm allowed to say this.
Yeah, I don't want to be I don't want to be clipped out here.
Right. It's not. As someone with Ecuadorian in their blood, I'm allowed to say this. Although none of the countries are in here. Like,
no, but still, we like to make this disclaimer. This is the DCOM speaking, not Ethan and Tony.
Right. These are a bunch of white guys in a writer's room speaking in 1998. Not us.
And white guys in the movie saying it.
Right. So after the comment of, like, letting anybody in here, Gabriella says to Val, it's a free country. We can be here if we want. And Val, it doesn't make sense.
Doesn't. But go on.
And Val says, if you don't like it, you can go back to Mexico. And she goes, I'm from Peru.
And then we're done.
We're done. And that was the racism. The sentence doesn't make sense.
I don't know. He thought it was a good insult.
Go back to... She doesn't have a problem. She's not the one with the problem. He is. She's just existing. And he goes, why are you here? And she goes, I'm allowed to be here. And he goes, well, if you don't like that you're allowed to be here, go back to Mexico. You're not. It doesn't work.
You're trying to understand this racist dude making this comment. I don't know why you're thinking too hard about it.
It's just racism for the sake of racism, and it doesn't. It's not even. It doesn't make sense.
She doesn't get comeuppance from it either. It's
No.
just an offhand comment. It's worse. She gets worse than comeuppance here.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It doesn't get better for Gabriella. All right. So they're going to decide to race. And Gabriella's going to race and Brink's going to race.
Val chose Brink to race.
Yeah, Val chooses Brink to race. Whoever loses has to leave. And whoever wins gets to stay.
At the downhill, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Val's going to tell Brink pretty much to sweep the leg.
Brink doesn't do anything wrong here.
Well, he says stick to the outside.
Yeah.
Which is like, Karate Kid style, sweep the leg. Val's going to go down to make sure they can fairly determine a winner. But he's going to go down and just throw rocks onto the road.
Yeah. And they don't really explain it throughout the movie how uneven surfaces to these skaters is absolutely dangerous. Because once again, as somebody who attempted to skate outside today, even the tiniest bump in the sidewalk threw me off my balance. So these people who are zooming down these hills, hitting those size, even the tiniest bumps, they don't just explain how dangerous it is.
Right. You're going to hear first from a resident inline skating expert.
Brink inspired me. I got to say, I'm like, you know what? I want to skate now. I'm not going to do it anymore, but I'm glad I tried.
So they're going to go down the race. They're going to go down the hill. Val's waiting. Brink says to Gabby, stick to the outside.
Yeah, like they're racing and he yells it back. He's like, stay on the outside.
And I think she's actually ahead.
I think she's ahead.
She's ahead. He says, stick to the outside. And she says, I'm not going to listen to you. And she gets injured in this like weird, like slow motion, multi-capturing shots and angles of her falling into these rocks. I
gotta give him props. It looked nasty, the fall. The slow motion kind of like threw it off a little bit. But just the amount of times she rolled down that hill, they did a good job of making it look like it really hurt.
Yeah, this is the third movie with crime. And a lot of...
Yeah, I'm going to say, we're going to count this as attempted murder.
It's attempted murder. And also probably a hate crime.
Based on previous comments, yeah.
Yeah, you can't be racist and then go down the hill to try and set up a trap to injure somebody.
Yeah.
Potentially kill them.
Especially because later in the final race, they hit top speeds on the incline of 42.5 miles per hour. That's a car speed.
Right.
And these people are on roller skates.
Yeah, it's attempted murder. It's probably a hate crime. And probably a few more crimes in there.
Yeah.
Which is not as bad as the regular murder. Wait, there was murder in the last episode. Yeah. There was murder in You Lucky Dog.
Was it murder or just a death?
No, there was murder.
I think I blocked that movie out.
He poisons the old guy.
Oh my God, you're right. So we have attempted murder in the first one.
Yeah.
Murder in the second one, and attempted murder in the third one. We're on a good streak.
There's several counts of attempted murder in the first one.
Yeah.
And then straight up murder.
Yeah.
And then more attempted murder here.
The only thing is, she isn't too hurt from this fall, though, and I don't know how.
She isn't.
Like, the cut on her arm is nasty because you can, like, see the rocks in the cut, which is disgusting.
It's a bad-looking cut. Cut.
I feel the burn, but still, when we see her later, it's like she has no broken bones or anything, and she just needs to stop skating for a little bit.
Yeah, it's real weird because she's gonna go down. She's gonna have, like, some bad cuts on her arm. Then we're gonna go to the next scene, which is at her house. And Brink's gonna show up.
Mm-hmm. As Jordy and Pete are leaving.
Mm-hmm. He's gonna get to the door. And Gabriella's mom is there. And she's gonna call him Brink, which she wouldn't. She would call him Andy or Andrew even. She would never call him Brink.
I feel like there's a 50-50. Oh, no, you go.
If she's making her daughter wear a dress to the first day of school, because it's what you do in Peru, she is not calling a kid Brink.
Okay, I was going to kind of argue here. I'm like, maybe it's a 50-50 shot. It's like maybe Gabrielle just calls Brink when, like, she mentions it to her mother. But now that you say how, like, strict the mom is, it doesn't make any sense. You're right.
Yeah, I had a nickname in high school, and people called me by my nickname to their parents, and they would call me that, but none of them were strict Peruvian mothers. Like, that just wasn't the case.
Yeah.
It's weird, but it's just like, that doesn't make sense. He's gonna go in. She looks like she's on her deathbed.
Either way, she's sleeping at least. And they wake up this girl who has like injuries and should be getting rest. And the mom's like, okay, just wake her up.
Right. She's just like, yeah, go wake her up. Her friends just left the house. Somehow she's fast asleep. Sleeping on an ice pack also.
Yeah.
But she looks really bad here.
Yeah, it's because the room's dark and everything. There's no, like, lamp on. It just looks like a really somber scene.
Right. There's not much in this conversation, honestly. She's just kind of like, it's not all about the money. And we all need the money. So there's no reason for you to do that. It's like, yeah, but also...
Think about it, like, a little more.
Yeah. Let's be real here, Gabriella.
Yeah, I think the only other thing that really happens in this conversation is Brink says he never wanted Gabriella to get hurt, which is a kind of useless apology here because she almost died.
Right. She got hurt by your racist teammate.
And then she just calls him a sellout, and that's the end of the scene.
Right.
Yeah.
We're going to cut to Brink Prime. Watching Brink inside the garage. And this is where we get the wished for skating confession from Mr. Brink.
It's not as big as I thought it'd be, and I'm disappointed. It's just a passing comment.
It kind of is and it kind of isn't. Because it's like, he's like, the only reason I got you skates when you were growing up was because of how much I loved it.
Yeah.
So it's like, so it's like, oh, so why do you hate? He doesn't offer an explanation as to why he hates it so much.
Yeah, it's like, I used to skate, now you skate. He's like, you're very involved in it now, but he doesn't say it's a bad thing either.
Yeah, they have a nice conversation where Brink's gonna tell him that he joined the X-Blades, and he he's gonna ask about Gabriella because he
Yeah,
knows she got hurt, and then he's gonna have some great words for him. He's gonna say, "Construction foreman is what I do, not who I am."
that was deep. That really hit me.
That
Honestly,
was deep.
I'm
Yeah.
not gonna lie. I know me and Tone Dog had a conversation last week, and I'm like, damn, they got real messages in these movies.
They get it, and I think this has done enough for me to enter into the motivational speech rankings.
I forgot we had those rankings. This is the new number one. It made
Right.
me feel something. I went, damn, that was deep.
So number 1 is gonna be Brink Prime garage speech.
And then the last one was, I already forgot it.
Number 2 is Lucky's courtroom speech.
Yeah, that's last already, and I don't think it's gonna move.
Yeah. If it was the dog actually saying it, that'd be great, but it was just Kirk Cameron.
Yeah, so pointless. I just think another thing that's important with the scene is when he tells them that he joins X-Blade, he was like, yeah, I took it because I wanted to get the family some more money. But he also says he wanted to be like a somebody. He wanted to be like famous in a sort of inline skating community way.
Right, if he just wins the championship, he could probably get that.
Yeah.
And he does.
Whoa, spoiler. Come on, man.
All right, so what's next?
There's just one more thing in this scene when Brink's dad asks Brink if he's competing in the championship. Brink says no, but his dad's like, if you do, I would love to be there. And then they joke about having a conversation as they walk out.
Also, the championships are apparently this weekend.
Yeah, like right after the Invitational.
Right.
Which doesn't make any sense. But the dad makes a joke about how like skaters talk. He's like, let's split the pad. And then Brink goes, nobody talks like that anymore.
Yeah, let's split to the pad. No one talks like that anymore.
And I was going to make fun of that because I'm like, nobody talks like Brink anymore in 2020. But he did say, what's up, fam? So.
Yeah, people talk like Brink. I think we should talk like Brink.
Yeah, I think it really fit in with what we do.
Oh, we're back to the pier now.
Yeah, same day, same filming day. Different day in movie world.
The X-Blades are going to be at the pier, and Brink shows up, and all the X-Blades are there, including Boomer.
Yeah, Boomer's back walking,
hanging out with the X-Blades. Brink is going to show up. They're going to get into a bit of an argument, and he's going to throw a chocolate shake in Val's face. And him and Boomer are both going to quit.
Yeah, Boomer doesn't say he quits, but he walks off with, like, he kind of stands up to Val, and then he walks off with Brink.
I was under the impression that it was like, oh, Gabriella went down. We got Brink. He's bringing Boomer with him.
That's what I thought, too. I'm like, oh, this is great. I love Boomer.
I'm so glad
he's... Yeah, like, that's a power team, honestly.
Right.
But it doesn't lead to anything. Brink's there in the final to, like, support. Boomer's there in the final to support Brink. But that's all the rest of the character development we get of Boomer.
I think there's at least one other time where I'm like, oh, this guy's hurt. Bring in Boomer.
That's the solution to everything in this film. Bring in Boomer. I think Val makes another, I'm not going to call it offensive comment here, but he's like, I don't want the strawberry milkshake, bro. Does it look like I'm in a dress?
Right.
Strawberry's a good smoothie or milkshake flavor. He's missing out.
Strawberry is the best of the flavors.
I'm not going to go there.
Of the main three, strawberry is the best one.
You have your opinions. I have mine, but we're not going to get into
What's better? Rank 'em.
Vanilla or chocolate? I'm gonna go
Rank 'em.
vanilla, chocolate, strawberry.
You're wrong.
You're wrong too, but
It's strawberry, vanilla, chocolate, very low.
yeah, I don't like a lot of chocolate things. Like I'll eat chocolate bars because that's good, but any like chocolate ice cream, not my thing.
Okay, well then get rid of your fraud chocolate ranking. Why is it number 2?
Because I don't like strawberry that much. It reminds me of strawberry like milk, which I don't mess with at all.
Or it reminds you of dresses, and you hate dresses, huh?
Whoa. That's a harsh accusation.
We know the truth.
You know the truth? I know the truth. You're not fun to skate with.
All right.
It's something.
You didn't have to go there.
I'm sorry. I think that's got to be like one of the biggest roasts in the skating community because Brink says that to Val. I'm like, in a skating context, that's got to hurt.
Yeah, he's just like, you're not fun to skate with. And he's like, oh. But like, you could just be like, I don't care.
He's like, I don't support you almost killing my friend. You're just not fun.
So Boomer and Brink are gonna leave the pier. They're gonna cut to the pit where Gabriella, Peter, and Jordy are hanging out. Jordy and Peter are doing stuff. Gabby is just like Gabby is just coaching.
You know her.
Yeah.
You call her Gabby.
Is just coaching them and yelling at them. And then she says something, and Peter goes, well, slow down. You know you're not supposed to be skating until at least the weekend. Which is crazy. What is this injury?
Yeah, they say no broken bones, but she looked like she was dying earlier. Pick one.
Right. She has it looks like a worse injury than Boomer's.
Yeah.
And hers is less than a week long.
And Boomer is still not skating at the championship.
Right, and Boomer is not skating, but Boomer is also apparently out of the X-Blades. But he's still friends. Not anymore now.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Shout out, Boomer.
Shut up, Boomer. As they're skating, Peter's going up, and there's this like sword coming out noise. Very out of place sound effect. Peter falls.
I wanted to bring that up earlier. Every time they were grinding in the first scene, because apparently you can grind on rollerblades, it sounded like a sword sheathing sound effect. And it's obvious that it is that.
Yeah. We're professional sound effect makers. So we know what we're talking about here.
Just steal the one from Tony Hawk.
Just steal the one from Tony Hawk.
You already got the ska music. Just steal the sound effect.
Just steal the sound effect, man. If you're willing to take the ska, take the sound effect.
That's just life for you, man.
Peter falls and he breaks his rollerblades, shoes.
So the way it breaks, the only thing that happens is the wheels, like the whole line of wheels of a skate, it just broke off. So it's not like the wheels itself broke, just the connection of the wheels to the boot. And then Peter goes like, I'm not going to be able to fix this. I think you can.
Yeah, it's weird. They just like the whole base comes off and it's like, where were any of your screws?
Yeah, because it didn't break in a way that the wheels are broken. It just disconnected.
Right.
Either way.
Brink's gonna show up. He's gonna be like, hey, you need any sponsors? And he gives them dog washing t-shirts.
Pups and Suds. Get the name right.
I'm sorry.
I'm very passionate about Pups and Suds.
It's Pup and Suds.
Pup and Suds.
Can't even get it right.
I'm sorry. We both have our issues here.
Yeah, but yours are just more obvious.
Damn. That hurt.
All right, he's gonna offer them the sponsorship, and he's just gonna hand over new skates.
Yeah, he has taken out a 4 months advance in his paycheck at Pup and Suds to pay for all of this.
Right. Might I point out that's not how skates work.
No? What do you mean?
You don't just get new skates, especially not the weekday before a competition. You don't just get new skates and then put them on and then race in those. You need to break them in. You need to like the skates.
Yeah, he did say, like, I guessed on your sizes. Kind of like, he's like, I kind of remembered your sizes.
Yeah, he's like, I think I got the sizes right. But it's just like, that alone, sure. But also, you need to like the skate.
Yeah, I feel like it's like a bad omen to change up your skates before an event.
It's not even a bad omen. You're just gonna like fall a lot more.
Yeah, no, you
You're
have
not
a
used
point.
to the skate.
We're both resident inline skater experts.
I have a skating guy.
Yeah, you just call him up.
Yeah. I just call him up and he gives me all the info about skating.
Is it the photographer from Inline Skating Magazine?
All right. So Brink's gonna rejoin the Soul Skaters.
Because now he's skating for the soul again.
Yeah, he's back. He's skating for the Soul. He made his cut. He made his money. Doesn't need it anymore. Luckily, the term Soul Skater can be thrown out now, and we get to call them Team Pup and Suds.
Team Pup and Suds. I'm still gonna call him Soul Skater, but Pup and Sud is also a fun name.
Team Pup and Suds show up to the championship. And ESPN is there.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
It's official. It's
official.
going on It's going on ESPN too, of course, with next to the cornhole. But still, it's fun.
And the ultimate frisbee. It's got a spot.
I'd watch it.
I wouldn't.
I'd watch it for like the 5 minutes. Like you switch the channel, you're like, oh, that's kind of cool, and then you watch it, and you're like, it's not as cool as I think it is, and then you switch it.
You put it on for the 5 minutes where you're like, oh, is the game on ESPN or ESPN2? And then you go and you look and it's like, oh, it's ESPN. So then the X-Blades are going to show up and they're going to start to bully them a little bit.
As they do.
They have a brand new member.
Do you have anything to say about this? Because I do.
Oh, you go.
They just replaced Boomer with another person of color.
At least they're diverse than they were.
They kept it the same.
Well, then they went to Brink. They replaced Boomer with Brink.
Okay.
Then they went to a person of color.
He didn't say anything. There's nothing to his character.
He doesn't say anything. He shows up. He wasn't in the tryout scene, but he's here now.
Yeah, and he just skates. That's all.
I don't even know if we ever see him skate.
He's in the montage for just the first montage, though. Yeah.
So the street competition is going to start. They explained the rules, but I wasn't paying attention.
I didn't even know they explained the rules. It just looked like you have these ramps, go do some tricks.
Yeah, your classic, Tony Hawk mini game.
Yeah, find the VHS tapes.
Gabriella is going to go first. And they're going to drop the term unknown skater or some variant on that 3 times on Gabriella goes.
And then they do the same for Brink. And it's so weird that the championship would feature unknown skaters who didn't prove anything at the Invitational because they weren't there.
Yeah. And also, wouldn't they know Brink if he was on X-Blades even for a second?
He was wearing sunglasses. They said his name, but he was wearing sunglasses. It could have been anybody.
Oh.
Oh.
Oh. So after Gabriella goes, she does pretty good. She finishes strong.
Mm-hmm.
Val's gonna go. He's the top ranked skater in the country.
Yeah.
He's fine.
He does his stuff. It's impressive. Like anything these people do is impressive to me.
But anything that happened in You Lucky Dog was impressive to you also. So
no, I think Kirk Cameron's dog acting could have been a lot better, and it didn't impress me that much. But what did impress me in this movie was the commentators actually sounded like real ESPN commentators. Because they were sprouting off moves left and right. I can't even name some, but they sounded like 540 was the main one, but they were breaking out like specific type of grinds, specific type of grabs and everything.
Yeah, they got it for sure.
And I think that's never really the case with these sports movies, like the commentators being good. So that was a nice change.
It depends, because I feel like 90% of the time, like if it's baseball, you just get like a minor league stadium announcer.
Yeah.
Like you can find me, but
also people know those sports better, so they could just be spouting whatever in this movie and I could believe them.
But they just need skateboard guys.
Yeah.
Up next is Brink. He's gonna do pretty good, but he falls.
Mm-hmm. So that's the only bad part of his run. Yeah.
Yeah. He's gonna get a lower score. After he goes, he's gonna run over to his mom and his sister, and they tell him that his dad got called into the construction site by his boss to talk to him on a Sunday.
They're construction workers. They work. I don't know.
All right. So his sister tells him to skate butter.
Skate butter? Yo, skate butter sounds ill.
I feel like skate butter's a thing.
It probably is.
I
don't know. We've learned a lot of skating terms during this movie, I feel.
I think it's like, I feel like it's to, I don't know. I don't see it coming up. It's just a lot of food. What food is skate? I guess it's a fish?
I don't know, man.
Regardless, skate butter seems like a greasing, like you grease up the wheels.
Yeah, because they use like, it's not surf butter, but like with surfing, there's definitely like gliding material.
Right.
But the correct term is skate better.
Skate better, which I thought was funny.
Yeah, because then Brink goes like, all I had to do was skate better. Thank you. And then when the mom's going back to see, she's like, come on, Kate, let's go watch Brink skate better.
Yeah, it was a good bit.
It was a good bit.
Then then we have a montage, which is real weird.
The montage itself is fine. The issue I have with it
is the music. Song. Yeah.
One, the lyrics. I turned closed captions on because I couldn't understand the hip lingo. The lyrics were weird, but more importantly, the song was like a slow song. And when we had like this bright ska music at the beginning, why wouldn't you just continue that here?
It's a really slow song, and it's not even like, there's not a point where it really picks up.
It never does, no.
And it's bizarre. It doesn't make sense. Who knows?
It's a montage of people skating.
So, this montage is going to happen, and Pumpin' Suds ends up in 4th place.
Mm-hmm.
But next up is the vert. And they rule at the vert.
Yeah, that's, I think, what their best at, they say.
They say they rule. So
That's skater terms for ill.
that's skater terms for we'll do all right.
That's skater terms for we'll move on to the next round.
Brink's up first, and he's going to do pretty good.
He hits a 900 here, which nobody really responds to. I feel like a 900's insane.
You don't get how the scoring works.
Yeah, because, like, wasn't it a big deal when Tony Hawk did, like, a 900 at, like, the X Games?
Is it... Do they correlate? Is it the same scoring format?
I don't know, just spitting that much. Like, they always hype up the 540, but my man Brink does a 900.
It doesn't make sense. It like the scoring system is weird.
Yeah.
Who knows? Val's up next. He goes also. He does fine. Brink's sitting with Pup and Suds, and they're kind of like, oh man, we need this next team to do bad, or else we're not going to make it to second place. And the top two teams go on to the next round.
Yeah.
Where they face off in the downhill with their best racers. Yeah.
A point we missed here is that before Brink does his stuff, his dad shows back up, and we get a conversation between Brink's dad and his mom. And the dad's like looking all sad, and the mom was like, "Oh no, you didn't get the job back." And then he goes, "Yeah, I did. I'm back to work on Monday."
Woo!
Brink's and they celebrate completely blocking the rows of people behind them.
Right.
This conversation lasts for probably like 2 minutes. There's stuff going on at the competition. That's all.
Yeah, Brink's gonna notice him and like give him a thumbs. He's gonna thumbs up or thumbs down.
Yeah.
And then be like, well, and then his dad's gonna throw him a thumbs up. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
As Pup and Suds is waiting for the next team to go, Brink says it ain't over till it's over. Do you know whose quote this is?
It's Brink's to me.
Well, reevaluate. It's Yogi Berra's. Baseball Hall of Famer, baseball legend.
I know who he is.
The man with more World Series reigns than every franchise except 2. Especially the Phillies.
Okay. That wasn't needed. I get it. Yogi Berra's good. The Yankees are good.
It ain't over till it's over.
It ain't.
Need the other team to do bad. But lucky for them, we're going to see another potentially devastating injury.
Yeah, this dude goes up the vert and doesn't land and slides off the ramp onto the concrete below or off the ramp.
Right. He's going to slide off into the concrete and then he's just going to lay there, like not moving.
And nobody goes to help him. And nobody really like is worried, it looks like, at first.
The medic's going to eventually get there. And then it's kind of just like the medic throws his arm up and pulls him up and they both go up and he skates off no problem to a bunch of people cheering for him. And It was like the guy was not moving.
No, he was face down. Looked like he was dead.
Right. So now Peter's up and he's got to do good. And they don't really say how good he has to do.
No.
But he's going to go. He's going to pull off the inverted 540.
It's a pretty sick move. Pretty ill move.
Pretty ill move. Ill.
He probably learned. He perfected it at the sesh.
Perfected it at the sesh. We never see him get close to landing it. before this point?
No, there's no, like, he kind of lands it and then falls. It's always he just completely wipes out.
Yeah. So he's going to get a 98.
Highest score of the day, probably.
Right. So wait, what did Brink get?
97, I think. And I think Val also got a 97.
What about the 900?
Nobody cared about the 900. That was what I was saying.
But what was what did it look like? So the way the score worked was there were 4 zeros, and they only ever used the first 2 sections?
No, I was talking about the 900 as a trick.
Oh, he just like a 900 spin.
Yeah, and nobody's hyped for that. Come on, man. Know your skating terminology better.
I was so confused. I was just like, I didn't see the number 900, so I just kept going, and I backed you.
You're just like the fans. You didn't care about that 900.
It's true. So Peter's gonna pull off like the highest score, a 98, which makes me wonder: is Peter the best? Is Peter certainly has a higher peak, best single game performance, but Peter's overlooked. Regardless, he's a team player. Pump and Suds are gonna advance. Brink and Val are going to face off in this downhill race.
Yeah. The last thing I wanted to say about the invert, they kept cutting to Boomer in the crowd, which made it really look like the beginning of a Power Rangers episode before like the aliens came. And they're just like, oh, Jason and Kimberly are at the skating competition. That happened in Ninja Storm. They had like a skating competition, and then the world broke in half. But like it just the way they were cutting to him in the crowd cheering looked extremely like an episode of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
Right. How could we forget Ninja Storm?
Good one.
It's a great one.
Top three.
Top 2.
Top 2? Oh, okay.
They're gonna start the race, and Brink and Val are gonna have this weird like eye contact shot,
and the camera's just spinning around them.
Yeah, they lock eyes, and it's real nice. Good for both of them.
Yeah.
As they're racing, Val's gonna fly into a hay bale wall.
So I think there's a decent amount of build up to this part. So there's a screen at the bottom of the course where everybody's watching the competition. And for some reason, there's this point where there's this blind turn where the camera's cut and they can't see what's happening. So during this point, Val starts to like swing at Brink and he like pushes into a van, but Brink's still up. And then as the cameras turn back on, Val swings one more time, Brink dodges it, and Val goes flying off into that hay off the side.
Yeah, he does all this like in front of ESPN.
Oh no, you go.
You go.
So the thing is here, the cameras were off the initial times he was swung at, but that third time he goes for it, the cameras are back on. There's got to be a rule in the book that you can't hit the other competitor.
I think there is, because people don't like that he doesn't.
People don't like it, but the race didn't stop or anything. He wasn't penalized or anything. Brink still had to catch up.
Right, but there's talk about the cheating later. Like, he's clearly outed as a cheater. So yeah,
he's off the team at the end, but still.
Yeah. So I think if he did win, then we have a problem.
Okay.
But also, yeah, so he's gonna go flying into this wall, and Brink, being the nice guy that Brink is gonna go back and stick out his hand to help him up. And Val is going to, in front of the ESPN cameras who are like, we gotta go get this, he's going to grab him and throw him back behind him and take off. Brink's gonna eventually catch up to him, by flying through an alley that I feel like wasn't on the course.
I don't think it is. And I also think this should be a disqualification because there's flags that line the course that you're supposed to follow.
Right.
So going off that course and cutting through, I think should be seen as cheating. But Val's done worse.
I think everybody, there's a little cheating. I feel like the penalties might offset.
I think Val's was much worse, as he could have once again attempted murder another skater.
Right. Well, I think this is less attempted murder. This feels less like premeditated.
Yeah.
Where he was just kind of like bumping and throwing him into things.
Yeah, maybe just get him off his feet.
Mm-hmm.
Something weird about the scene is the music. There's like this backtracking music to the scene. It doesn't have any lyrics except for randomly screaming, "You gotta know yourself."
Right. I'm glad you wrote that down because I noticed the music and I was like, what's even happening? But then I never wrote it down. Also the music, like, it doesn't help the build up to scream, "You gotta know yourself." It comes out of nowhere despite what the music is doing.
And it does nothing. And it doesn't sound like it's part of the actual song, which makes me so confused about it. But that's all.
So Brink's gonna catch up, and they're gonna be neck and neck down the hill, hitting how fast? Like 43 miles an hour?
So earlier they clocked him at 42.5. This is just a sprint to the end. They don't say a speed here, but they were going fast. They were zooming.
Brink's gonna win by like a hair.
It's like I'm gonna pull up Cars again, the tongue sticking out over the finish line kind of thing.
I knew you were gonna say it.
Come on, Brink is Lightning McQueen. He goes back to help the injured car, or the, in quotes, injured car. And then at the end, he wins by the skin of his tongue.
Brink doesn't join Lightning McQueen never joins the enemy.
It's inspired, okay? Cars was inspired by Brink. Brink also inspired How to Eat Fried Worms. Brink also inspired Zeke and Luther.
Brink inspired How to Eat Fried Worms?
Yeah, when they ate the worms out of the sandwich.
I don't think I ever saw How to Eat Fried Worms.
It's disgusting. I didn't want to watch it, but I watched it.
Good for you.
Thanks, man.
And they're all inspired by Hans Brinker.
That's the lesson we take away. You gotta read your Dutch folklore.
You gotta know yourself.
You gotta know your Dutch folklore.
So Brink's gonna win. Everyone's gonna be pumped for Brink. Val's gonna walk off like in this secret pathway as adults point and call him a cheater.
They boo him out of there. It's great.
Boo him out of there. The Worm and Blondie show up and they're like, "Hey, we're sorry, we didn't know. We didn't know he was gonna do something like that." And
Baloney.
Brink enthusiastically yells back, "It's okay, you didn't know."
How did they not know? They almost killed a girl earlier.
They've watched him be terrible the whole way around. I don't know why they were like, "We're not going to do this."
We didn't know he would try to cheat. He's been doing it the whole movie.
Right. Consistently mad.
Yeah.
Then the manager, Jimmy, is gonna walk over to Brink and go, "Brink, look, Val's out. The cheating, it's a bad look. You're my guy." Brink's gonna have the tough decision of what am I gonna join the X-Blades?
Mm-hmm.
And he decides not to because he's a soul skater at heart.
He is a soul skater. And then he gets hoisted up into the air. He's holding the trophy, and we get a freeze frame of him smiling. being a soul skater.
They could have all just gotten money.
Yeah, I mean, they gotta get money for winning the competition. And
I don't
but the
think
thing
they
is,
do.
that's weird. But the thing is, there's got to be people willing to sponsor them now.
Yeah, but if Team X-Blades wants him, he can be like, great, I want my 3 also.
Yeah, but Jimmy's a sleazeball, so I get it.
Is he?
He just got. He feels like he has some shady practices.
He
He
looks
doesn't.
shady, but he never seems like a terrible guy.
He employs 2 teenage girls to hang out with the rest of the X-Blades as entourage, which feels weird to be paying 2 teenage girls to.
I think
be there.
I think you're throwing that to Jimmy, and I don't know if you necessarily should be.
Still,
Well, that's the end. That's the movie.
we got a Brink theme song in the credits, though. I think we need to bring that up. It's good.
Is that all?
Yeah, I don't remember the lyrics, but it was good.
It's good. You remember? It's good.
It's got Ethan's seal of approval.
Ethan's seal approval. There you
Doesn't
go.
mean much.
That's all it needs. We're done.
We're done. We watched Brink.
We did it. 3 episodes.
And now it's time to rank them.
Let's rank them.
Let's rank them because I think this one's an easy choice.
Yeah.
Brink's number 1.
Without a doubt. Brink's number 1.
It was a feel-good movie all around.
It is never really bad. It's got a great message. It's
based off Dutch folklore.
Based off of Dutch folklore. It's not personally it's pretty good. Not personally, I don't think it'll stay at 1 for me. But honestly, I can't tell. It could. Definitely could.
It was a solid movie all around. There wasn't any points where I was really bored with it. All the actors did a great job, and I just think the premise of we joked around a lot about inline skating and everything, but it's cool to see them just skate around.
I think for sure it's just it's impressive. It's cool. It's got a nice concept. It's gonna start. It's gonna start the era of Disney pumping out these DCOMs.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the first one that I think everyone it is the first good DCOM.
Yeah, we can officially say that.
It's the first good DCOM.
We may be the unofficial DCOM podcast, but it's officially the best DCOM so far.
Right. So there we are.
Yeah.
Anything else to say?
I can't wait for our next sesh, fam. I think we don't want to get slimed on. So if you don't want to get slimed on, make sure you grommets join us next time when we talk about Halloweentown.
Halloweentown. We've said it numerous times.
Wear your best costumes because we won't be able to see you. But in your hearts, you know that we're all soul skaters. So show it on the outside.
Right.
It's just a long-winded way to say join us next time.
Join us next time. You can get our podcast everywhere that you get podcasts now. That's pretty impressive. Look at us. Share our podcast.
Yeah, share it. Tell your friends if you like it. If you have anything bad to say to us, tell us. It'd be funny.
It'd be funny, yeah. Say it to our face. Share this podcast to people. We would like people to listen to our podcast. Give us 5 stars. And keep watching. Because I think it can only get better.
The movies get better.
I don't know if they do. And then Brink?
There's good movies.
But who knows if they get better than Brink?
That's true. That's
why you gotta come back next time and tune in to the Unofficial DCOM podcast.
You almost said Untitled.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, you did. Come on, Gromit.
Bye.
Bye.